stars. Outer space may be beautiful, but it's not as beautiful as the smile of a child, nor as sublime as a good bottle of wine shared among friends. Our search ends where it began, here on this big blue marble.
Astronomers say that while their telescopes were pointing at Mars, they never even noticed the planet that was right in front of them. NASA now plans to appreciate what they already have. The agency's latest report, entitled Wonder is Everywhere, Finding the Beauty in the Everyday, calls for further study of the little things that truly give life meaning.
Warm rain on a summer day, the smell of pine trees, touching the worn paper of your favorite book, that's what's always made us happy, not some asteroid a million miles away.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. Welcome to another live Saturday edition of the program. Coming up. Oh my God, I can't believe it's actually happened. There's Bubbles.
What? I've been telling people since March of this year, because we talked about how this COVID thing is going to make everybody a germaphobe, et cetera, and so on. And I said, society is going to become nothing but a bunch of bubble people.
It's literally happened. We're going to get into that story, and it has to do with a band and a concert. We'll tell you more about that on the way. With you tonight, by the way, it's Ian.
The Lord Reverend Captain Kickass is here.
And Mark.
And the phone number for you, if you want to join us to talk about whatever's on your mind, it's 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Also in the lameification category, Halloween is being canceled in at least... we're here in New Hampshire, so I catch wind of things that go on in Massachusetts more than I am just hear about, say, Chicago or something like that. So I'm sure this is happening elsewhere, but it's definitely happening in multiple towns across Massachusetts. Straight up bans and various restrictions on Halloween-y activities. So if you want to...
You said Halloween-y.
I did. If you want to weigh in on that, maybe something similar is happening in your area, you're welcome to join us. Of course, you can also bring up anything. And again, the number is 855-450-FREE. To start the show out tonight, though, our co-host Aria DiMezzo continues to be in the headlines. Last week, she hit a AP story, which was very, very good. It got distributed in hundreds of locations, hundreds of websites online that carry AP content, and then, of course, a number of those are actual print newspapers.
The Associated Press, for those who don't know what the AP is.
Thank you. Yeah, print newspapers that are, obviously going under and going out of style very quickly. Did you guys see the news, just as an aside, since I mentioned newspapers, that the New York Times now apparently wants $10 for its Sunday edition delivered to your house?
Wow.
Per week.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I just saw my mom's edition of Consumer Reports, and it was, like $17 for the year.
Yeah.
For a monthly magazine.
Right.
Can you cue up the Death March? I mean, if that's not a signal that
it's on the way out.
It's on the way out. I don't know what is.
Right.
So
what's going to happen to the Gray Lady? At this point, they've gone totally, intersectional, whatever, race theory, whatever their thing is. I mean, they're out of their minds, and they want $10.
$10 for just the Sunday edition. I had to double check the offer too,
just to make sure. Is that one time?
So I got this from Hello World on our, I think it was Hello World who posted this, one of our Matrix chatters. Same person who posted the Rand Paul letter that we read earlier this week endorsing Donald Trump. It was a mailed pitch that, or maybe it was online, but anyway, it was the New York Times was trying to get new subscribers, so they said, try the Sunday edition for $12. It's $1 per week for 12 weeks, and then after that, it goes up to $10 per week.
Per week.
So the intro was $1 a week, and then it shoots up times 10 for, I presume, home delivery, mail delivery of the New York Times.
Whoa,
absolute madness.
I'm sorry to tangent. You said Rand Paul endorsed Trump?
He did, yeah.
So just to settle some arguments for some people that may have had them out there, Rand Paul, if he were libertarian, you would think he would have endorsed Joe Jorgensen. You would think, but Rand Paul pretended as though Joe Jorgensen does not exist. He said you have two choices, and one of them is Donald Trump, and Donald Trump is more pro-peace than Joe Biden, so therefore Rand Paul is behind Donald Trump.
Right. I give him a pass on this one. I mean, he's running as a Republican, and
he's never said he's a libertarian.
Well,
That's
he
true.
hasn't.
No one should
no,
be surprised.
But if you look at how he votes about as he's the most pro-liberty voter in there, and at this point, we haven't managed to get some radical, hard-line libertarian into the United States Senate. So
Probably never will. The U.S. will probably come crumbling down before that ever happens.
That could very well be the case.
I can't wait.
So
I
if
hope Trump's the last president ever.
If I was Rand Paul in there, knowing I'm surrounded by Republicans and Democrats, and perhaps I'm an undercover libertarian, knowing that Joe Jorgensen doesn't have, it's going to be a big deal if Joe Jorgensen gets one state.
Yeah, he's playing politics or whatever.
Yeah.
So somebody else who is in the political realm is our co-host Aria DiMezzo. She recently blogged. I thought it was such an excellent blog. I wanted to share it here with you on the air tonight. It's entitled "Commit Heresy with Me."
You should define heresy for those folks who don't
She
know.
will.
All right.
It's coming up in this story. So she says the state religion is powerful, isn't it? Powerful enough that Our Moment PAC, which describes itself as being, quote, committed to getting BIPOC and LGBTQ plus candidates. Mind you, I have no idea what a BIPOC is. I've heard of LGBTQ.
Bipolar?
I don't know. It's BIPOC, so I suspect that each of those stands for something. Probably not bipolar. Candidates elected into office actually endorsed, so again, this is a LGBTQ promoting PAC, right? A fundraising political entity that's supposed to be promoting trans and LGBT people, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, this PAC endorsed Democratic candidate Eli Rivera over me, the actual literal LGBTQ plus candidate in the race. So for our listeners who don't know, Aria DiMezzo is a trans girl.
That's I mean, it's not fantastic. I find it tickles my funny bone.
So although I've reached out to the PAC, as have at least two others, to find out why, there has been no response from them. However, we already know why, don't we? They, like everyone else, don't do their research. I hope the people who support Our Moment PAC can understand that the PAC just declined to endorse a trans candidate in favor of a straight cis man. I would speculate that not many people simply use Our Moment PAC as a guide to the candidates, but those who do were just severely misinformed. I want to be clear, though, that I don't think Our Moment PAC made the conscious and deliberate decision to endorse Rivera over me. Or maybe they did. If they had, they would have responded with their reasons. Instead, they just endorsed the Democratic candidate, assuming blindly and ignorantly that the Democratic candidate was more in line with their mission than the Republican one. This ignorance exists in every direction. When I was nominated as the Republican candidate for Cheshire County Sheriff, my response was a bit more scathing and vicious than I intended. Yet, here we have a PAC who is pretending to be LGBTQ plus friendly, and what are they doing? They're just blindly picking Democrats in races,
right,
without any research whatsoever.
And it's right. It's one of the things that's done, and for whatever reason, the gay folks and all those letters, they've just picked the Democrats, as if the Democrats have really ever done anything for them. The Democrats don't like them. They just, whatever. They've picked that side.
Yeah, I had a piece of mail or trash, whatever you want to call it. It was left on my door today, one of those door hanger trash things from the Democratic Party, and I don't have it in front of me right now, but it basically said, like, support your team, the Democrats in, New Hampshire or whatever, and it was for re-electing whichever state, or not state reps, but the U.S. reps.
Crooked old perverts.
Yeah, and it was like, oh, well, this is just blatant what they're doing here. It's the team mentality. Support your team. Well, they're not my team, right? Like, I've been a registered Democrat before. I'm a registered Republican now. I just move around whatever's convenient politically. But they're not my team. I don't even know who these people are. Similarly, I don't know who's on the New York Giants or the New England Patriots or whatever. And they don't, even if I knew their names, they don't know me personally.
Right.
They're not my team. These politicians aren't my team either.
I can literally name one professional football player.
Can you?
Right now. That's in the game now.
I could name a whole bunch, but
I can't.
That's,
Tom Brady.
I did want to tell folks, according to the $10 a week New York Times for the Sunday edition, BIPOC stands for Black, Indigenous, and People of Color.
Oh, okay.
BIPOC.
Gotcha. So back to...
Not to be confused with Tupac.
Aria DiMezzo. She says, to be honest, I don't want their endorsement. Not if they would so ignorantly give their endorsement to a straight cis man when the straight cis male Democrats candidate is literally... when the opposition candidate, which is her, literally a trans woman. I don't want their support. What I want is for you to be aware that most of the PACs and organizations that you're trusting to provide you with information about candidates are not doing so. They're taking the same insane bipartisanship lines that led me to be the sheriff's candidate in the first place. So at first, everybody laughs at, the Republicans for voting in Aria DiMezzo in the primary as their candidate for Cheshire County Sheriff, and she points out that, well, you guys just weren't paying attention, and now she's pointing out that the Democrats also are not paying attention. It's Free Talk Live.
Look, I'm sorry, but you're in for a world of pain if you use Koinomi. The reason is their wallet doesn't support payments. The solution is simple. Let them hear your voice. Message Koinomi on Twitter, it takes 5 seconds, and tell them AnyPay sent you, because they're on the fence right now, and your voice will prove that people care about using Bitcoin for payments. Go tweet at Koinomi now. Or even better, leave a review in the App Store. They really pay attention there. Thanks.
On a multidimensional probe, the Syscov Trans-Temporal Vehicle Clio discovers 2 entire universes have been annihilated in a massive time-traveling accident. Robert Kaminsky and his crew race home with the news, only to learn their own universe is next. To pull off the impossible, they'll have to embrace the unpalatable by placing their trust in the admin, Syscov's xenophobic sister universe, and the same people who tried to kill them all only months before. The Valkyrie Protocol by David Weber and Jacob Hollow. Available October 6th, wherever books are sold. Visit Bang Books at Bang.com for more.
Bear, the rescue dog, had very flaky skin, dropping a lot of fur, and Levette wanted to do steroid injections. I was at a dead end.
DINOVITE.com.
Probably 6 weeks after we started using Dinovite, no more flaky skin. He doesn't scratch and itch. It was awesome.
You get some Dinovite, how happy your dog will be.
Every rescue dog in America deserves Dinovite for 90 days.
DINOVITE.com.
Divvy's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divvy's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to DivvyProject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from DivvyProject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. DivvyProject.org. DIVI Project.org.
A congressman recently revealed that legislation totaling 2,900 pages and involving more than $1 trillion was available to members of Congress for less than 48 hours to study and consider. That's over 60 pages of legislation per hour. Do you think anyone read the entire bill? I'm Jim Babka with DownsizeDC.org. Consider a proposal buried in a 3,200-page, $388 billion bill, which would have empowered committee chairmen or their agents to examine Americans' tax returns. When this horrible provision came to light, no one claimed to know how it got into the bill. One congressman questioned said, "I didn't write it, I didn't approve it, I wasn't even consulted." If your attorney represented you this way, he might be disbarred. But this is how Congress represents you every day. That's why DownsizeDC.org has created the Read the Bills Act. You can force Congress to read their bills before they pass them at DownsizeDC.org.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and it's the live Saturday edition of the show. You can dial in toll-free here. Coming up, the crazy and sad, pathetic Bubble concert that Captain Kickass will tell us about, which band was behind it. And, that Bubbles the character? Are you talking about Bubbles the character?
Hey, do you remember when you were young and you first blew bubbles? Well, he says hi.
Ooh. Oh, man. So let's go on. The Aria for Sheriff, Aria, the number 4 sheriff.com. That's where her blog post here is about committing heresy against the religion of the state. And she's talking about how the initial portion of her campaign, where she's running for sheriff, she's a trans person, she's a trans girl, and made all kinds of headlines. I mean, she got coverage, Fox News, international headlines, Russian television came over here to do a piece on her. I think there's a Danish TV group that wants to do another
She's doing all sorts of things. Isn't she speaking at some rally in Keene as well?
There's going to be a Mask Freedom rally on Monday in Keene. She's a scheduled speaker for that this coming Monday. So she's very, very busy, and I described her as world-renowned in the email that I'm going to send out to the news media about this.
Infamous.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so she really has pointed out some of the hypocrisy that is just rampant within political sides. The Republicans, for instance, just completely ignoring, even bothering to look at what candidate that they were voting for, and they voted for her, mostly likely ignorantly in the primary. Now, she didn't have any opponent, mind you, in the primary, so people are just blindly checking the box.
But 4,000 people checked her name.
That's right.
In the primary, presumably a good portion of them not knowing that she was claiming to be a Satanist and is like a 6'3" trans woman
with pink hair,
with bright red hair, and what was the other distaste? Oh, anarchist. Also claiming to be an anarchist and a Satanist at the same time.
That's right.
In fact, what she is an atheist libertarian. But whatever.
No, she's a Satanist. She's
and an anarchist.
It's garbage.
Yeah, she is. Well, look, you can disrespect somebody else's religion if you want to.
It's not.
Okay, you can be disrespectful towards somebody else's religious beliefs if you want to, but she's the high priestess of the Reformed Satanic Church here in Keene, and she takes that very seriously.
She takes.
Okay, you can go to her website and you can look and read all about it. She has posted multiple times to the Reformed Satanic Church website.
Does she believe in Satan?
You don't have to believe in Satan to be a Satanist. Have you even done
a
modicum of research?
To the question.
Have you even done a modicum of research into Satanism?
Buddy,
if you had, you wouldn't have to ask that question.
I know all about it. Okay? I read LaVey's book when you were still a toddler.
Okay, good for you.
Right? But what I'm telling you is...
Does LaVey believe in Satan?
No.
Okay, then why'd you ask the question?
Christians believe in Christ. Satanists, by and large, don't believe in Satan. That makes them atheists. Okay? Like, I know what words mean.
Oh, are you saying you have to believe in the daddy god Satan story in order to be a Satanist?
Yes.
No, you're wrong about that.
It's just that then you're just lying about what you are. It's just
that's not true
ruse.
Either. That's not true either.
Okay.
You just want to have what your belief is about a Satanist. You think a Satanist should believe in Satan.
I think
and
words
you're wrong
are meaningful.
About that.
That's what I think.
You're wrong about that.
I am right that words are meaningful. You are willing to compromise in this area because it got you publicity and you like that.
I'm not getting publicity out of this.
Yeah, that's what you
I don't know what you're talking about.
You got publicity.
Aria's
for your
getting
candidate.
publicity.
You're the managing her campaign.
No, I'm not. She calls me her campaign manager, but that's just because I helped her answer some emails.
Is she using a term that is not exactly right when she describes you? Ha! What a joke. Please go on.
I'll go on when I'm good and ready.
Fine.
Okay?
You're not a campaign manager, and she's not a Satanist.
She calls me a campaign manager, and that's her valid opinion, Mark. And it's her opinion that she's a Satanist, and she's got a lot of writing to justify that. Have you ever bothered to read any of the things she's written on her Reformed Satanic Church website?
The only thing that I've read on her site was the blog post about how she felt that it was irresponsible that Republicans voted for her in the primary.
Mark. Aren't you an intergalactic space king?
Yes. Do you take that seriously?
I mean, do you?
Do you think I've been around for 150,000 years?
I mean, sometimes you're a little
consciousness
spacey, yeah.
has been moved from one being to another on different planets?
I don't think you've been to another planet, have you?
That my pronouns are His Majesty and Your Majesty?
But I mean, I guess you could have done some psychedelic drugs.
Nobody here calls me His Majesty and Your Majesty. Why is that? It's because you don't take my claim as Intergalactic Space King seriously.
Well, you don't take it seriously.
There are pictures, there are articles written by third parties about me being an Intergalactic Space King, Ian, but you choose not to believe that. However, you will take the 6'3"
Are you saying that's your religion?
Trans woman. It is my being.
Okay, well, that's your opinion, and you're welcome to have it. I'm not going to deny you whatever your vision of reality is.
Use my pronoun.
No, I'm not going to deny you your vision of whatever your reality is.
If I can be the Lord, he can be your majesty, I guess.
He can be, but I'm not going to call him that.
Oh, okay.
You can have whatever you want as far as your beliefs, dude, but you don't get to say whether her religion is real to her.
You don't get to say whether or not I'm Intergalactic Space King.
Whether or not, yes, I do. You don't get to say whether or not it's real to her. You can have whatever opinion you want to, but I find it particularly disrespectful, especially as somebody who is personally, you are not one of the major religions. You're a Quaker.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think it would be disrespectful if Aria just completely ignored your claim to religious beliefs. So, I mean, I'm just asking you to, respect somebody else's, one of your co-hosts' religious beliefs. That's all.
It's not her religious beliefs. Please go on. Her
Very
beliefs,
disrespectful.
Her beliefs are that God doesn't exist, Satan doesn't exist.
Okay. You don't know what her beliefs are.
Yes, I do. I asked her right here on the air, and I went through a list. Do you believe in...
You don't have to believe in those things.
Hold on. I said, do you believe in demons? She said, no. Do you believe in angels? No. Do you believe in Satan? No. Do you believe in God? No. That, by definition, is an atheist.
Nope. I'm sorry. Maybe it is an atheist, but that doesn't mean that she can't have a religious belief.
She can call herself whatever she wants.
Yeah. Good.
As long as you call me Your Majesty.
Blow me. Let's go on. We've got Richard in Pennsylvania. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Richard.
Hey, I just had a quick question, guys. Who do you think is going to win the presidential election, Biden or Trump? Just curious. Thanks.
Really? Is that what you were calling to ask?
Yeah, just curious.
I know who's going to lose.
It's a big. I mean, come on, man. It's almost 2 weeks. It's within 3 weeks of the election. People want to know.
I have no idea.
They're thinking about this.
How would I know? Does anyone else want to answer the question?
I know who's going to lose.
I don't know who's going to win. I can tell you that I filled out the ballot that my family had. I don't have a ballot myself. We filled out the ballot together and sent it in. And I hope Joe Jorgensen pulls off one state, but that's the best I can hope for. As far as between Trump and Biden, I don't know. I mean, really, it looks like a close race, and I don't think that there'll be a big difference in anybody's life, very few people's lives, if one side or the other wins, because that's kind of how it is.
Okay.
I'll tell you who's going to lose, though. The people. That's who's going to lose. Yep. No matter who wins the election or the selection, depending on how you look at it, the people are going to lose.
Absolutely. They're going to screw us. They're going to make the government bigger, more oppressive, more insane.
They're going to continue dropping bombs, which hasn't stopped, by the way, and everybody's conveniently stopped talking about it.
Well, I do hope that Trump honors his promise to withdraw the American troops from Afghanistan by the end of the year. That would be nice.
Yeah, it's time for us to get out of there.
Thank you, Richard, for your call tonight. I appreciate it. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. More on the way here. You can take control of the airwaves, bring up whatever you want. 855-450-FREE, like freedom. It's the live Saturday edition of Free Talk Live. More about committing heresy on the way on Free Talk Live.
So when we brought him home, we didn't realize that Bear, the rescue dog, was actually sick. He had very flaky skin. He was dropping a lot of fur, and Levette wanted to do steroid injections, special dog food. Nothing seemed to work, so I was at a dead end.
DINOVITE.com.
I've been hearing Dinovite on the radio for years. It never actually crossed my mind to try it until it finally sunk in. Oh, you're talking about hair and skin. And, all right, I'll try it. Well, it took probably 6 weeks, but after we started using Dinovite, no more flaky skin. He doesn't scratch and itch, and he started to put weight on.
Dinovite is nutrition.
I wish that we would have started the Dinovite right away. It would have been so much easier.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be
Every rescue dog in America deserves Dinovite for 90 days.
DINOVITE.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. LRN.FM's free-to-air satellite feeds blanket most of 2 continents. It was my goal to put our channel there so people without internet could receive our programs and feed pirate radio stations. As our contract with our satellite provider is coming up for another 3-year renewal, I have to consider calling it quits. It's rare that we get feedback or support from our satellite users. We started a fundraiser a few years ago, and though there are a bunch of great contributors to it, as of this recording, it covers 15% of our monthly satellite costs. Please email lrn@lrn.fm and tell me how you use the satellite feed. Better yet, chip in at fund.lrn.fm. The costs aren't the issue. We can afford them, but why continue something not valued by the market? Want to help? You can join our satellite fundraiser for just $2 a month at fund.lrn.fm. If we raise enough to keep both channels on the air, awesome. If we raise more, I'll add more channels. If not, we can shut them down and go internet only. It's up to you. Thank you for your support. Fund.lrn.fm.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Dial in, toll free, and bring up whatever you want. Our number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Here tonight, it's Ian.
The Captain.
And Mark.
We're talking about committing heresy against the religion of the state, and Aria DiMezzo has a really interesting piece about that.
Did I miss the definition of heresy?
It's coming.
Okay.
In this, I believe in this article. We'll get into that coming up here in just a bit. But of course, your calls and thoughts are welcome. And if you want to reach people with the ideas of liberty, you can do it from the back of your car with libertystickers.com. You can reach thousands of people with a bumper sticker, and you know people love to read them. So check out the vast selection of witty, poignant, pithy, and downright bombastic liberty-oriented messages at libertystickers.com. You know what? Something else they do there at Liberty Stickers is they make window clings. So I had one done recently, 2 of them actually done recently for the Bitcoin Embassy of New Hampshire, and they are now up on the front door of the Bitcoin Embassy.
That like kicks ass.
Glass front door, so it's very, very easy to attach those. So Liberty Stickers can hook you up. If you need custom work done, they can get it done. Of course, they've got, again, a bunch of pre-made bumper stickers for you, but if you've got like a brilliant idea for a bumper sticker, something that's no one's ever come up with before, then they can make that happen for you. Or if you've got like a business or a political campaign that needs stickers, they can help you. LibertyStickers.com. We go to Randy in Panama, Florida. Randy, you're on Free Talk Live. Hello?
Hey, how are you doing?
Hey, Randy, what's on your mind tonight?
Just wanted to kind of get your take on this Hunter Biden email scandal.
Yeah, we actually talked about it, I think, in great detail last night. My understanding for listeners who may not have heard about this yet was there was a laptop dropped off at a computer repair center. It was not clear who it was that dropped it off, but it was part of the Beau Biden Foundation, which is, I guess, a foundation named after the dead son of, or one of the dead sons of Joe Biden. And then it turns out, allegedly, that the laptop was Hunter Biden's, who is another one of Joe Biden's sons who's still alive, and they ostensibly found photos of naked people. We're not sure of what age. Also, apparently a video of Hunter Biden smoking a crack pipe while having sex with a woman in a 12-minute long video, and another photo of Hunter Biden laying on a bed with, his covers pulled up around him, and he has a crack pipe hanging out of his mouth. Now, whether that was a planted crack pipe or it actually happened to just be hanging out of his mouth and he just passed out like that, I don't know. But your thoughts, sir?
I just can't thank you enough for even talking about it.
Oh, yeah, we got into it in great detail last night. It's hilarious.
I'm sorry I missed it. I'm so sorry I missed it, but it's absolutely hilarious.
You can go listen to it at archive.freetalklive.com.
Or just freetalklive.com.
If you were to choose presidential candidates based on how their sons how their children have turned out, I don't know. I guess I would be, and I had to pick between Trump and Biden. Then Trump's kids look a little better at this point.
Well, that's probably a bad way to choose a presidential candidate.
I don't know. It's not the worst way to choose it. I mean, if you say I like his hair, that's a much
that's
worse
also
way.
Bad. Yeah.
No, a better way is how did your kids turn out? I mean, that's not the worst way in the world to pick your candidate.
Well,
no, not at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably not a very informed way to do it, but it's a way, I suppose. Anyway, in regards to this particular situation, the more interesting part, because it's funny to laugh at, political people with crack pipes.
It is funny to laugh.
It's not funny to laugh at that at all.
Actually, it is.
No, I'm going to call that funny.
I think it's quite funny. I'm always amused. Let me tell you why it's funny. Because these people who... these Bidens and Trumps and Republicans and Democrats who want to tell you how to live. They want to tell you what you can put in your body. When it turns out that one of them has a drug problem, I find that to be particularly entertaining because these people always act like they're better than everybody else, that like their S don't stink, and that they're superior.
Yep.
And the fact is they're not, and they're flawed human beings just like the rest of us.
Well, and government continues to saddle unborn children with piles and piles of debt, so I don't feel like laughing at the children of politicians really crosses any lines.
Yeah. I mean, this guy isn't, and I want to make it clear, like I did last night, if Hunter Biden was like some sort of innocent party, right? Like, because you can't choose who you're born to, right? Like you end up in the world and your parents are who they are and you deal with it.
You can pick your family, but not your friends.
I think you have it reversed. But anyway, when you're brought into the world, you just got to deal with who you have. If Hunter Biden had come out and been like, look, I am not interested in what my dad does. I am not, a politician. I'm not over here with these people. I'm just over here doing my own thing. Leave me alone. I'm not with these people. But that's not who he is. He is a complete political animal who apparently, according to the emails, now there's 40,000 of them, so by no means have these things been mined completely at this point, but according to some of these alleged emails coming from this laptop, this Hunter Biden guy met with a Ukrainian power company, and he got his dad, Joe Biden, to connect with this power company. He got on the board of directors somehow of this power company and got paid up to $50,000 a month to sit on said board of directors because he could curry favor with his dad, and his dad could curry favor with apparently the Ukrainian government. And so his dad allegedly asked the Ukrainian government one of their prosecutors to not prosecute this Ukrainian power company. So like there's definitely like some slimy stuff that's going on here.
You got it right. And I do. You were right. I did have it reversed. I was a little bit nervous just talking on the phone.
That's all right. No worries.
Nothing will ever beat, in my opinion, the Jeb Bush situation when his daughter was caught with smoking crack.
This is no different.
And, well, this one's they came out and they said, "Ladies and gentlemen of Florida, please give our family some time in this important time."
Same thing happened here.
The same guy would absolutely send the cops to your door if your kid was caught with crack.
You better believe it.
And throw them in jail. Wanted some time so their family could focus on themselves.
Same exact thing happened here, Mark.
Exactly?
Yeah. Joe Biden came out.
Joe Biden isn't in office today.
Okay, well, he was just got out of office.
Yeah, 3 years ago.
Is Jeb Bush in office today?
He's crooked. Jeb Bush was in office at the time.
Hunter Biden was caught with crack while Joe Biden, I believe, was in office. Joe Biden's been in office for like the last 47 years. This isn't the first time Hunter Biden's been caught with crack, okay? So the same thing has happened. Joe Biden came out and he said that his son is dealing with this and that, his son's going to beat this, and this is, basically same line of this is our family and, we're going to deal with this or whatever. Instead of, oh yeah, let's slam the door on this person. Let's slam the jail cell door on this person, which of course Joe Biden was also an ardent drug warrior while he was in office, just like Jeb Bush. In fact, I brought up the Jeb Bush thing last night because they are identical situations.
Yeah, why doesn't law enforcement, in this case the FBI, just come in and lock this guy up? I mean, that's what he'd do to our kids.
That's right. Randy, what else did you want to say? Go ahead.
Good Lord, how can I get a word in edgewise? I mean, you guys, you pretty well covered it all.
All right, man. Figured I'd give you another shot there. Anything else?
No, I'm done.
All right, thanks, brother. I appreciate you calling in about it, man. And like I said, check out last night's show. Go to freetalklive.com.
Is he calling from Panama City, Florida?
He was, yeah.
Well, I used to.
Your old stomping grounds.
I used to live there for a bit.
That's right.
Yeah, we call that. I'm from Florida, and we call that Alabama.
Yeah, it's southern Alabama. Southern Alabama, if I say it correctly. That is where I first had real Alabama moonshine. Yes, from Opelika, Alabama.
Is that how you pronounce that?
Yes.
Opelika. Okay, I always wondered about
that.
The
people who were from there anyway pronounced it that way, so I assume that's correct.
Gotcha. So if you want to bring up whatever you want, you can do that here. And I'm sure we're going to be hearing more about this Hunter Biden laptop situation as more, the 40,000 emails get parsed through.
Does it change your mind, ladies and gentlemen? Now that you find out that Hunter Biden is, that in fact, all the things that the Trump campaign's been saying about Hunter Biden and Joe Biden up to this point appear to be true, have you changed your mind for whom you're going to vote?
Was there really any sort of revelation in this release?
It was confirmation at the very least.
Okay. Because, there was he was already
whatever Trump's accused of, at least there aren't pictures of it.
Yeah, none of this had made me want to vote, so no.
But then again, some say it could just be a deep fake. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can take control of the airwaves. It's Free Talk Live.
Do the letters IRS give you anxiety? I'm Dan Pilla. I've defended people from the IRS for more than 40 years. My book, How to Get Tax Amnesty, created the tax resolution industry and is responsible for helping hundreds of thousands of people. It can help you too. If you're a non-filer or facing IRS enforcement right now, your case is unique. You need real help, not cookie-cutter advice. My clients get my personal attention. Buy my book at danpilla.com and get a free consultation directly with me. That's danpilla.com. Let's start solving your tax problem right now.
Warning, if you are over the age of 65 and on Medicare Parts A and B, you must listen to this. Studies show that the average Medicare recipient pays more than $5,000 in out-of-pocket medical expenses each year. What is even worse is that sudden health emergencies can cost $75,000 or more and force thousands of unfortunate Americans into extreme debt and even bankruptcy. There is hope. The solution is snapmedicare.com. All it takes is a quick phone call to 800-286-5516 to protect yourself and your finances. Call 800-286-5516 to make sure your Medicare plan includes provisions to cover any gap in your coverage. Whether you have questions about Part A or Part B Medicare, remember and rest easy knowing that your medical expenses are being taken care of with snapmedicare.com. Call 800-286-5516. You and your loved ones deserve peace of mind, and snapmedicare.com will help you get it. Call 800-286-5516. That's 800-286-5516.
What if you could cut your heating bills this winter with your existing wood-burning fireplace and not spend thousands doing it? You can with Great Wall of Fire fireplace grates. Our U.S. patented made-in-America Wall of Fire grates increase fireplace efficiency, eliminate fireplace smoke problems, and come with a 30-day money-back guarantee. See our grates in action and get free shipping from walloffire.com or call 800-274-7364. Fireplace heat without fireplace smoke. walloffire.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project early movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
Yes, just when you thought things couldn't get any lamer, they're going to have bubble concerts.
Rock and roll is now lame.
It's been that way.
Hey, you guys have heard of personal space bubble, right?
Yeah.
Well, now there's a physical, it's an actual noun. It's not just a fictitious thing that exists in your head. Now you can buy one.
Everybody gets to be Bubble Boy and Girl at the Right Rock shows, which we'll tell you about coming up here in moments. And so your calls and thoughts are, of course, welcome. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. It's Ian, Captain Kickass, and Mark in the studio tonight. We started the show this evening with an opinion piece by our very own Aria DiMezzo on her website, her campaign website, Aria, the number 4, sheriff.com. That's ariaforsheriff.com. The article entitled Commit Heresy with Me, where she's talking about the ignorance between and involved in both the Republican and Democrat Party establishments, specifically calling out a PAC called, or PAC called the Our Moment PAC, which supposedly is committed to getting LGBTQ candidates into elected office. And they endorsed Rivera. They endorsed Eli Rivera. Now,
that's hilarious.
Eli Rivera is the Democratic candidate in the race who's running against, he's the incumbent sheriff here in Cheshire County, who's running against Aria, who is an actual trans person. But now that you've told me, Mark, the BIPOC apparently means, or I'm sorry, Captain Kickass, you told me that, that POC stands for people of color. Maybe, since Rivera is Puerto Rican, that's what they're going to lean on. If they ever do justify what they were doing, they'll say, oh, well, yeah, you're trans, but he's people of color, so therefore we're endorsing the incumbent. But anyway, she still makes a good point here that as a trans person, she didn't even get an explanation. Okay, so it'd be one thing if she'd reached out and they said, oh, well, he's Hispanic, so we endorsed him.
Hispanic is the only minority that you can enter by speaking a language.
Is that right?
Yeah. If you look at the definition, it has to do with people who speak Spanish.
Okay, well, he's brown, too. So they could,
I know, and so that makes it very complicated. Like, they don't want to say that.
So they
Brown.
could have just wrote, they could have just written her back and said, we're sorry, we looked at your race, and we know you're trans, but he's also a Democrat, and he's brown, and so we're going to endorse him. But they didn't write her back at all.
Politics are racist.
They didn't say anything in response to her. They didn't bother to give her a simple reply. And so that looks suspicious to me when they do that. And she points out, she says, I don't want their endorsement, nor not if they would so ignorantly give their endorsement to a straight cis man when the straight cis male's opposing candidate is literally a trans woman. She says it's not about what you stand for. It's about what letter is next to your name. It's not about how well you play. It's about what team you play for. One of the greatest heresies in the state religion is to betray the Democrats by voting for a Republican, or to betray the Republicans by voting for a Democrat.
Right. They'll go so far as to say if you vote Libertarian, they'll tell you you're just voting for the other side. No, you're not.
If you vote Libertarian, that's a vote for Donald Trump, right?
Or Joe Biden.
Or Joe Biden.
It's like it's Schrodinger's vote. I mean, it is simultaneously a vote for both sides. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like you don't understand mathematics. If I chose not to vote, you wouldn't claim that I'm voting for Joe Biden or Donald Trump. If I choose to vote for a third party, I'm absolutely not voting for that same side because, in either circumstance, your favorite crooked old pervert didn't get the vote.
Yeah, they're all cults in my mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
And cults are often characterized by crappy thinking, right?
Yes.
Like misunderstanding reality.
Yes.
It's almost what cult means. And that's what we're talking about. When we're talking about Democrats and Republicans, and cult-like behavior, yeah, it is.
I give exception to the band The Cult. They're a rock band. They're pretty good.
Yeah.
So she says,
and all fire women.
It's written.
Fire women.
She says it's written
She is
into
to blame.
to the bylaws of Republican and Democratic parties that if the leaders in these parties support a candidate from another party, they cannot speak of it, and that's true. That's a true statement. I was I actually still am technically the vice chair of the Keene Republicans, and it is prohibited for the chair peoples and elected whatevers to endorse anyone besides the Republican in a general political race.
Yes, you simply mayn't say that you think that somebody's a better candidate.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So she points out why. Because tribalism, that's why. Because the New England Patriots, that's why. Because we like Team Red more than we like Team Blue. Humans are tribal creatures. We want to be liked. We want to get along with people. We want others to support us and accept us, but that support and acceptance clearly doesn't come to us because we're individuals, does it? No. The support of fellow progressives is contingent upon the fact that you do not vote for a Republican. And the support of fellow conservatives is contingent upon the fact that you do not vote for a Democrat. These people do not accept you. To them, you're a pawn on a chessboard, to be moved at their whim. When you're no longer useful, they will discard you in the hopes of capturing a peace. And then she includes a quote from Friedrich Nietzsche. Quote,
nice.
The individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe. If you try it, you will be lonely often and sometimes frightened. But no price is too high to pay for the privilege of owning yourself.
Love it.
She goes on. When I began my foray into content creation, one of the most popular videos I did was a criticism of the liberal redneck. In his video, I presume he's one of these YouTube vloggers. She says in his video, he criticized the woman and her kids who marched through a Target screaming about the Bible in response to Target's transgender bathroom policy. In this video, he also accused the woman and her kids of being racist, although there was absolutely no reason to believe that that was the case.
Well, that's just the popular thing to do now. I mean, there's a sign here that says Trump is that just says racist across a Trump sign. I mean, what evidence
was
do
it
we
like
have?
Vandalized?
Yeah, it was vandalized.
Oh, wow.
It's right on the big corner there. I mean, and at this point, I still have yet to hear the racist thing that Trump says.
Apparently, Ice Cube doesn't think he's racist. They're working together now. Did you hear about that?
Yep.
This week? This was my criticism, she says. In droves, people came out to attack me. These are not direct quotes, but these are the sorts of comments I received en masse on my video. He's speaking up for you. Why are you criticizing him? How dare you? He's trying to help you. Again, talking about this commenter on YouTube who was against a woman who was marching through Target screaming about the Bible.
Right, because intent matters, not what actual content, apparently.
She says it remains the only content I've ever pulled down because I wasn't able to deal with the constant influx of negativity. I tried explaining to people that I was speaking for me and that I didn't need the liberal redneck to speak for me. I firmly stand against assuming people are racist just because they're of a certain race. I don't know why I'd ever have to argue that position. It taught me something invaluable, though. In the religion of the state, I had committed heresy. How could I, as a trans person, argue with a progressive Democrat?
You can't do it. You can't do it. Especially one you cannot speak as a Democrat or a Republican. You may not speak to ill to power.
How dare I speak up on behalf of my trans self when this straight cis white man was speaking for me? My rebuttals fell on deaf ears. It didn't matter what I, a literal trans person, had to say, because a straight cis white male was speaking, quote, for me, unquote, and what he had to say in response to the blatant transphobia was far more important than anything an actual trans person would have to say. It was because I didn't toe the line. I dared to think for myself. I dared to call something right when it was right and wrong when it was wrong, despite who was a liberal and who was a conservative. If you want to criticize that woman for being transphobic, I won't stand in your way. But if in your tirade you extend that to baseless allegations of racism, I'll point that out. That allegation is baseless, and that is in fact stereotyping on your part to make that assumption. So this guy presumed this woman marching through Target yelling about the Bible was a racist, even though she didn't say anything that was racist. Aria says, in the religion of the state, the ultimate heresy is thinking independently. I urge you to avoid anyone and everyone who does not want you to think for yourself. She says, when Democrats tell you to, quote, vote blue no matter who, unquote.
That's one of the dumbest things I hear coming out of these people.
I want you to understand that they're blatantly telling you not to think.
Yes.
They are blatantly telling you not to research candidates. Just trust us, they promise. We'll make sure no one bad gets in. I trusted you a-holes when you presented me with a Nobel Peace Prize winning Barack Obama, who went on to start several new wars and is the only Nobel Peace Prize winner in history to drop bombs on weddings and a Doctors Without Borders hospital. If you idiots think I'm ever going to trust you again, you have another thing coming because you lie. You're a den of thieves and vipers. I will never trust them. My nomination as the Republican sheriff of Cheshire County with Eli Rivera being endorsed over an actual trans person equally serves as evidence that you should not trust them either. They are lying to you. They're playing you to get your votes, but the only thing they care about is that you join their team. And I don't want you to join a team. I want you to be free to be you. Think for yourself. Question authority. And she says, maybe they don't know what they're talking about. Maybe they don't know what they're doing. They're just trying to convince you to trust them so they can continue blundering around. Stop granting them that license. Stop following with the demands of teams and groups and start thinking. The world can be anything you want it to be, but you must stop trusting people when they say they only want what's best for you, as long as you want what's best for them. There's more coming up here. We'll get into the crazy Bubble concert on the way in hour 2. This is Free Talk Live.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be a part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for people to use it for everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that is as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
Want to accept Bitcoin at your online store? There's a good chance you already have what you need: a WordPress using WooCommerce and a Bitcoin address. Now all you need to start taking Bitcoin payments on your website is the AnyPay app on your Android or iPhone. Just paste your Bitcoin address into AnyPay, then connect it to your website with our one-click plugin for WordPress. Now your website takes Bitcoin, start to finish in 15 minutes or less with no complicated steps. Download AnyPay from the App Store today.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Hoping to swing the states in his favor. I'm Joe Chiro, Fox News. President Trump campaigning in the battleground states of Michigan and Wisconsin. He'll host a campaign event in Janesville, Wisconsin soon, after speaking a short time ago in Muskegon, Michigan, where he said he's done a lot for that state's economy.
Now Michigan has many, many factories. You didn't have a factory built for 40 years. Now you have many factories being built, already built, and a lot of them being expanded. It's a whole different ballgame.
And he continued to attack Joe Biden.
So what all of the lawless rioters and flag burners have in common is that they're desperate to try and have a victory with a person that's totally unqualified mentally to be president.
The president spends the night in Las Vegas. The Biden campaign apparently concerned the election could be close.
The campaign memo obtained by Fox shows that the Biden-Harris ticket does remain concerned that this is going to be a close race. The campaign manager writing, quote, "The reality is that this race is far closer than some of the punditry we're seeing on Twitter and on TV would suggest." While Biden spent today in Delaware, he's going to be going to Durham, North Carolina tomorrow. That's where he's going to be trying to encourage people to get out and vote early.
Fox's Mark Meredith. The Women's March drawing thousands of demonstrators across the country to protest the Supreme Court nomination of Judge Amy Coney Barrett.
There are more than 400 events throughout cities, large and small. In Washington, D.C., clashing protests. The Women's March led people from the Freedom Plaza to the National Mall. Meanwhile, at the steps of the Supreme Court, an event called Women for Amy. The group is calling out the Women's March for not supporting Barrett, who, if confirmed, she would be the fifth woman to serve on the Supreme Court.
Fox's Alex Hogan in New York. America is listening to Fox News.
Adjusting to a new normal means we need to be smart about how we do business. Thousands of small business owners have discovered the benefits of Stamps.com and kept their businesses running while avoiding trips to the post office. With Stamps.com, you can print postage on demand, and you'll never pay full price, with access to discounted rates you can't even get at the post office, like 5 cents off every stamp and up to 62% off USPS and UPS shipping rates. Don't waste time at the post office or UPS store. Print official stamps and labels right from your home or office computer for any letter, any package, anywhere you want to send. Once your mail's ready, just leave it for your mail carrier, schedule a free package pickup, or drop it off. It's a no-brainer. Right now, listeners get a special offer that includes a 4-week trial, plus free postage and a digital scale with no long-term commitment. Just go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage, and type in Fox. That's Stamps.com. Enter Fox. Stamps.com. Enter Fox.
A bakery's political cookie poll in the spotlight.
Reps for Lochel's Bakery in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, claim their election-themed cookies with campaign slogans have accurately predicted the outcomes of the last 3 presidential elections. This year, they've been so popular, they briefly sold out. So far, reps say sales of the President Trump-inspired cookies with red sprinkles are in the lead, 3-1 over sweets inspired by former Vice President Joe Biden with blue sprinkles. The owner says the shop is not favoring any candidate, explaining their main focus is winning for the bakery and having a little fun. Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
Hollywood Golden Age actress Rhonda Fleming has died. Fox's Sal Giangrasso reports.
In Hollywood, looks count, but for Rhonda Fleming, she says her stunning looks worked against her when color arrived in the movies. In a 1990 interview, there was suddenly all this attention on how I looked rather than the roles I was playing, she said. Those roles had her
Email is easy, instant, and free, and that can be real embarrassing. Email lacks the eye contact and body language you get in face-to-face conversation, or the tone of voice and other nuance you hear in a telephone conversation. Email is just words, often few words. We're all smothering in spam, so we often reply in terse fashion that's easy to misunderstand. And email doesn't cost you a postage stamp, and it lacks the deliberation time it'd take to walk to the snail mail box. So it's easy to succumb to the "oh yeah" stimulus response trap. When in doubt, don't snap back at snippy messages you get. You may have mistaken the sender's intent. And unless you're sending AOL to AOL, there's no unsend. For more tips on critical communication skills for the way things are now, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
For the past several years now, area woman Caitlin Mooney has been convinced that each and every one of her friends should be a professional comedian. Our reporters spoke to Caitlin this morning about her, quote, hilarious group of friends.
Karen is so funny. Like, I can't even explain it. She's always just saying whatever on her mind. She has this totally sassy attitude. You just can't help but laugh. My roommate Rashmi, she always has these hilarious stories that, they're just too much. I'm always telling her that she should just go up on stage and talk. Everyone would love it.
Mooney went on to say that her good friend Lauren is so funny she could, quote, definitely be on Saturday Night Live or The Office, a sentiment she echoed about a number of her other acquaintances, including her childhood friend Marcia, her college roommate Angela, her coworker Julie, and even her sister Jennifer.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. We're launching into the second hour of the live Saturday edition of the show. As always, you're invited to join us. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Or call us through our Matrix server. You can get onto the new Matrix server. It's our own self-hosted chat server.
What if I told you we had our own self-hosted server?
Yeah, and now you can join it, and it's free, and you don't have to worry about some corporation coming down on you for saying things that are politically unpopular.
Yes.
Which is pretty nice to have, especially in
Which
this day
we
and
never
age.
do here on this show.
Right.
That reminds me, when you go to freetalklive.com, the Discord link is still there.
Is it?
Yeah.
Where the hell did you see that?
I just went to freetalklive.com, and there it was, to the right.
Weird. I thought I took care of that, so I'll have to take another look at that. You sure that was within the last recent
It was
week?
during the show.
Oh, all right. Well, show me later, because I don't see what you're talking about. But anyway, you can go to chat.lrn.fm. That's chat.lrn.fm, and that'll get you the step-by-step instructions on how to get interactive with other Free Talk Live listeners and call into the show on that system. So we knew this was coming, Captain. We just hoped that we would never see it, but it's here now. You thought concerts were lame with the whole drive-in thing?
I realize that people are grasping at straws in order to resurrect their financial well-being, particularly surrounding anything with performing arts, anything where an audience is required, stand-up comedy,
been decimated
theater,
this year.
Concerts of any kind.
So
really.
many venues have closed, and they're probably never going to reopen. The entertainment industry, the live performing industries are just
dead,
destroyed.
They're dead, and people, businesses, venues. I'll have more on venues on Monday's show. I've got something cooked up for Monday's edition of Free Talk Live. But
what we saw coming early on in this, there was this drive-in experience thing that was starting to happen at various different places around the country. It was, okay, come on in. We'll keep people safe. We'll keep the cars far away from one another. You get a parking space, and then you get another space next to it.
I kind of liked the idea of repurposing the old drive-in theaters, right?
Yeah.
It seemed like a cool idea to me at the time. But after having experienced one, when we went to see Jim Brewer, stand-up comedian, it was just lame, epically lame.
It never seemed like a cool idea to me. It seemed like this is a pretty lame way
I just like to
doing
see
things.
innovation, right? Because we talk about the market all the time, and the state always comes in and clamps down its iron fist and tells you can't do stuff. And so ultimately the market has to react to that
and does.
Go, and this is that. And so, like, I was looking for a glimmer of hope in a wasteland of nothingness because, government has shut down all of your entertainment. With the exception of, maybe some of the sports that are going on.
The best concert I ever went to was a gentleman who played a piano in someone's home, and there were about 30 people there to watch it.
Oh,
it was
private performance.
Yeah, it was the most moving thing that I've ever experienced. And the reason was, I believe, was because I was in a small space with a big instrument. The worst concert I've ever been, I got tickets from your radio station that you were jockeying there at the time, Ian, was Elton John and Billy Joel at what was then called the Ice Palace.
It was a massive arena for hockey.
Which holds like 25,000 people. And we had, of course, free tickets. We had, the nosebleed seats way in the back. And I literally walked out halfway through.
Wow.
Because there was no point. I couldn't see. I mean, as a young man, like 30 years old, could not see the stage. I don't need glasses.
Who went first, Elton or Billy?
What? I like them both. I think they're great.
Who went on first?
I don't know.
Oh.
I think I arrived a little late, but I got to see both of them.
Okay. I thought you only got to see one.
There were both people there.
They were playing together, is what you're saying.
Yeah, they were doing stuff.
Gotcha.
And it was awful. I mean, it was not a great experience. I could have heard those songs anywhere, and I was getting nothing out of sitting way up at the top, and so I left.
Yeah, I've been to that venue as well. I saw Metallica there, and it was like,
and
the sound wasn't that great.
And honestly, that's what I kind of feel would be the case with parking cars at a drive-in, watching somebody perform. As a person who watches live theater a lot, I like to be in the first 3 rows where they can spit on me, you know. And if I can't experience it, I don't want to go.
It's actually easier acoustically to make something sound better outdoors than it is indoors in a space that's not designed acoustically, right? Seattle used to have the Tacoma Dome, the most horrible venue to see, and like concerts would come through there all the time. It just wasn't designed. In fact, it was designed acoustically to reflect the cheers back down to the field to give, whatever team was playing the home field advantage or whatever. And so when you tried to put a concert in there, it did the exact same thing. You had reflections bouncing all over the place.
That's
made
how it was
sound
at the Ice Palace.
Insanely horrible. It was all just garbled garbage, and it was nuts.
That's exactly how it was.
But that's what draws to my mind the idea of parking a bunch of cars for a concert. Look, I can see it with a big movie screen where everybody's watching the big movie screen when people's heads are 3 stories tall.
But if I'm going to watch a movie screen, then I might as well just go home and watch the DVD concert video, because then I can play it on, my speaker system, and I don't have to deal with whatever crappy system they're going to have with the bouncing audio and all that. And so when we first heard about, they're going to start doing these drive-in shows, our reaction was immediately, I think, the same thing, Captain, was like, we rolled our eyes and like, oh my God, this is going to be terrible, because it eliminates the intimacy factor, Mark, the fact that you're not in any way close to the performance of what's going on. And even if you were in the first row of cars, you're still not close to any of the other people. Yeah. So you have no energy. There's no crowd feel. There's no energy of the crowd. There's no transmission of that to or from the stage. The performers on the stage are getting very little back from their audience. Well, and it's just
bands have tried other things. The best concert that I saw this year was a band that I like, a rock band called Clutch. They've been around forever. They're a stoner rock kind of a band. They actually hopped on the bandwagon of doing these like pay-per-view concerts. You spend $8 on their website. They try and upsell you a T-shirt or whatever, and then you get to see basically them in their rehearsal room putting on a show for you. And it was pretty good, but even they had a hard time with it during the concert, because the lead singer himself was like, it is so weird not hearing feedback after we're done playing one of our songs.
Are you guys out there?
Yeah, we hope you guys. And they'd have to look at the little chat window, to see. Oh yeah, people are applauding.
People are pressing the like button.
Exactly.
Okay, so this is sort of a matter of having money and being able to do things. Tony Robbins, are you familiar with this gentleman?
The sales guy.
Well, he's like one of the greatest motivational.
He's a self-improvement guy.
Yeah, motivational speaker, maybe something. So I'm sure he doesn't like any of these terms, but whatever he is, he has. I mean, that's what he does too, right? He puts on effectively one-man concerts,
right?
And it's a live performance, and he needs a venue and that kind of thing.
Same thing with televangelists.
I suppose,
or what are the traveling evangelists?
Yeah.
Right?
He put on. He moved from California to Florida. Go figure, because it's awful there. I think it was earlier. It might have been late last year.
Okay.
It was over taxes, not over the COVID. And he built this big area where he can see, all kinds of people looking through their cams on their laptops or whatever while they experience it. So he managed to make a feedback venue, because he said, you just can't do what I do without the feedback.
Sure.
And so he managed to set that up. It's possible to do this, and now maybe he can just, rent this venue out for concerts and those kind of things so that the bands can experience it.
I'm sorry, I don't think that's going to be the same.
Yeah,
I don't think it's going to be the same.
Thing. Look, for $8, you may want to watch the band perform that way. I think that's a nice feature instead of having to pay $80.
All of this crap sounds lame as hell to me.
Yeah, the whole point of a live concert, for me, from a rock and roll, heavy metal guy kind of perspective, is getting together with a whole bunch of people and rocking out. I mean,
right.
For heavy metal, particularly thrash metal or anything of that ilk, anything that's sort of the underground, the mosh pit, right? Slam dancing, if you will.
It's an important part.
Is a huge part. It's a counterculture, right? And so that's what it's all about. Yeah. And once you eliminate that stuff, it loses its
the
coolness.
Whole energy.
The whole energy goes away. You don't get to see some guy getting the courage and or stupidity to jump up on stage, climb up on top of a PA speaker, and stage dive into the crowd where the crowd catches them, and then he body surfs his way over to the exit.
Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. But if you thought drive-in concerts were lame.
About the thing yet.
Oh, wait till you hear what Flaming Lips, is it?
It is.
Cooked up. Bubble concerts coming up.
Divi's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divi's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to DiviProject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from DiviProject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. DiviProject.org. DIVI Project.org. News from news.bitcoin.com. $9 trillion, a third of the U.S. debt, has been created just since September 2019. The Bank of China's new digital currency has been used in more than 3 million transactions, worth more than $1 billion won. Still nothing from the U.S. Federal Reserve's digital currency. John McAfee indicted for tax evasion and SEC violations. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies, getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com.
Join liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians from June 28th through July 4th for ForkFest 2021 at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. ForkFest happens the week after the Porcupine Freedom Festival, and ForkFest is decentralized, which means no one is in charge. That also means there's no ticket cost. Just reserve your camping, RV site, or motel room with Rogers Campground for June 28th through July 4th. Where better to celebrate Independence Day than around other freedom-loving activists in the Shire? You can relax and enjoy the camaraderie of like-minded people, or you can create whatever experience or event you'd like others to have. If you're planning an event for ForkFest, be sure to let others know in advance. You can connect with fellow ForkFesters via the unofficial Telegram chat or the ForkFest forum. Links to those are on the unofficial website, forkfest.party. Mark your calendar for June 28th through July 4th, 2021. We'll see you at forkfest.party.
Free Talk Live.
The town wants him to stop. So he's charged with a misdemeanor and could spend 6 months in jail. 71 years old.
Nice folks
blind.
there.
He's
wouldn't let
blind. That's his source of
blind
living.
old man sell some firewood out of his front yard. Nice.
So now you're looking at having to go out, get a firewood permit, which is going to cost you X amount of dollars a year, and who knows how much research to try and figure out how to get the permit.
Just
then
doing whatever they can to stop industry.
Yeah, then you have to go and get your education so you can actually run the saw, and then you have to get a variance on your property so you can actually sell the firewood from your property. Oh, and don't forget, if you have a storefront, then you have to pay, what, $500, $600, $700 a month in rent, maybe $4,000 a month in rent, depending on what city you live in.
Gotta have an occupational license, too.
Aggression like this by these government people happens all across the country, and you have to ask, how much more are you willing to put up with before you finally say no?
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Should you be able to earn an honest living free from senseless government interference? The Institute for Justice thinks so. That's why we've spent years defending hard-working men and women from pointless government regulations. Nationwide, IJ has created opportunity by reducing government power, but there is still more work to be done. Visit our website today at ij.org. Let IJ take care of the government so you can take care of your business.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
Yeah, it's Free Talk Live. You are invited to join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. We're going to talk about how to make a concert as lame as you possibly can. Welcome to COVID world. Welcome to Fear world. We'll get into that story coming up here in just a moment, but I also want to invite you, if you are an individual who rejects the initiation of force and agrees to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle, you qualify to use Liberty.menu. It is a tool for the Liberty community, and at its core, it's a directory for events, businesses, and digital content. So if you've got a business and you want other freedom-minded people to know that you exist, maybe become your customer, then you should list yourself over at Liberty.menu. It's free to do it, so why not? You'll get perhaps some new business out of it. It's possible. Go to Liberty.menu. You can use code FTL on your user profile. You get a special Free Talk Live listener badge. It doesn't get you a discount because, well, it's free to use Liberty.menu. As we go back to the story here, Captain, where is this coming from?
Another dimension.
It sure seems
the
like
Mandela
it.
effect. We've crossed over into a dimension. I'm waiting for Rod Serling to step out any moment.
It is bizarre.
Imagine a world.
Mm-hmm. Imagine, if you will, a world where Futurism.com publishes an article. Futurism.com/the-byte. This article from October 14th. Headline: Band plays show with each audience member inside a plastic bubble. On Monday, iconic rock band The Flaming Lips held a concert.
Iconic. That much is true.
I don't think they've ever actually set their lips on fire. I could be wrong. But anyway, The Flaming Lips held a concert in Oklahoma City where everyone, audience and performers, were sealed in their own plastic bubble. There are pictures of this, and as
there's
we saw,
video
there's video of it too, and it is. It's kind of funny, but it's horrifying.
It looks like
at the heart of it.
So I'm willing to give the first iteration of this classification as art. To me, watching this video, I was looking at it and I'm like, wow, this is interesting and quite a statement about our new world. Whereas if this keeps happening, then I'm going to call it sickening and weird.
So it's okay right now, but if it happens a second time, then it's sickening and weird?
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, guess what? They're going to perform again.
Well, I mean,
I suspect.
I can see his point a little bit, I guess, where, innovation, you've got to experiment a little bit. And so if this is the first of its kind, they're just seeing how it's going to go. Will people accept it? How people will react to it? And if people react to it positively, more will happen. And if they react to it negatively, why, then it'll just fade off into black. But
right. I mean, it's art, to begin with, right? Like, we know that Soylent Green isn't actually people, right? Like, it was just a movie MacGuffin.
Music is art.
So I want to add something in here. I pulled up another article about this when I was looking, because you had shown a photograph, and I pulled up that story and was like, is this real? Is this actually a photo from? So I was looking for more, and then I found the video. And on this article, which includes the video by NME.com, it does show a photo of this guy from the Flaming Lips, whoever their, I presume, lead singer is, in a big bubble. Or a big ball, like, plastic, rubber, whatever it is. Bubble Boy. He's on top of a crowd, obviously in a photo that was taken on a previous year, because the crowd is, a crowd. That's just like a normal crowd. They got their hands up.
It's just a bunch of hands in the photo, yeah.
Right, but they're obviously not in bubbles, right? So this is not from this concert we're talking about. So what they're pointing out here is that this guy has had a bubble involved in his show before, where he gets into a bubble, apparently, and then, like, goes out into the crowd, and they hold him up. That's kind of cool.
He crowd surfs in the bubble.
That's a cool thing, right? Like, that's a cool gimmick. That's a neat thing for people to see when they're at a concert. But now they've taken that and they've literally applied it to the entire crowd of the attendees here. And the video is almost psychedelic as you watch it. There's like this is the actual audio from the performance. The lights are very colorful. The lights are shifting, blue to red, and the reflections and the sort of pulsing of these bubbles. It looks very
so dystopian,
crazy.
Man.
It's surreal.
It is very surreal. But the sad part is that this is actually happening, and that people are defining this as fun.
Yeah, it's one thing if this happened pre-COVID and this was just like,
a gimmick.
The trendy rave thing, or like something that, they did as art.
Yeah.
Right. But this is not that. This is the market attempting to innovate around the government shutdown of art.
And you can see these people in their bubbles. It's a fairly close shot. So you can see the singer. He is actually on top of all the other bubbles. So he's performing within the crowd.
Chief bubble.
And
bubble surfing? I don't know how to. Yeah,
he's just sitting there right now, but I'm sure he moves around. Yeah. And so, but each person has, what is probably at least 6 feet between the centers of these bubbles. So there's a lot of space, and they're just like dancing, to themselves within the bubble.
If you're standing in a bubble and you're 6 feet tall, presumably there's a 6 foot tall person in that venue somewhere. I mean, they're not that rare. We have several in this room.
Yep.
So if you if you're 6 feet tall, then presumably the bubble is 6 feet wide.
Correct.
And that would mean that half of that distance from the center is about 3 feet. So, this is sort of the way to get your, super duper social distancing. Because not only are you covered, you're also
isolated,
socially distant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you can see the people.
It is. It's so sad.
It's better than a mask. You can see them smile.
And because everybody is so far apart from one another, what does this do to the capacity of the venue as well?
Like, I have all sorts of questions about the bubbles themselves. Like, are they vented in some way? What happens?
They must be.
What happens when, some moisture gets on it? Do they fog up? Do they have,
how do you clean them?
Devices to prevent that?
Do you take it home afterwards? Do you get to keep your bubble?
Can they be air conditioned?
If it's expensive enough, yeah, I guess you would.
Can I set my own temperature versus the temperature of the guy next to me? And then when our bubbles touch, we create condensation.
Yeah, because obviously you wouldn't want to have to clean these things, right, between each users. That would become ridiculously time
unless they're
processing.
Disposable, but if they are, then that's
what I'm saying.
wasteful,
You could probably let the person keep the thing, would be my guess.
Yeah, if you buy them in enough bulk, then I suppose it would work.
I saw something in here about here it says that in the comment section, Coyne stressed that the punters are able to breathe normally inside the bubbles for extended periods of time, for a couple of hours easily, he wrote. So it does sound like they may be sealed, which is insane. I mean, this whole thing is just so
I could see things
crazy.
Going horribly awry, right? I'm waiting for the first one of these concerts to be held and the headline to read, concert goer dies because of asphyxiation inside sealed bubble. So
I applaud innovation when I see it, and if this gets them paid concerts, then I'm for it. However, I must say that if I find it a disturbing trend.
Yeah.
If this is, if this is what life's going to be like in 2021,
you can count me out.
Y'all can keep it. Screw California. This is in Oklahoma.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Oklahoma City.
Screw all these places where they're like, no touching.
This article just has a couple of it says, just watch as lead singer Wayne Coyne serenades a crowd of bubbled audience members who sometimes try to dance but largely seem confused while doing the closest approximation of a crowd surf available to him. It's just it's insane. I don't want to go to this kind of a concert.
Me neither.
Is all I'm saying. I think it's lame.
I didn't want to go to the drive-in concert, and this is even worse. 855-450 free. That's 855-450-3733. Imagine how it sounds in the bubble too. Sound waves aren't going to get in there real good.
Gotta be weird.
It's Free Talk Live.
From New York Times and Wall Street Journal bestselling author Larry Correia comes the latest chapter in the epic military fantasy saga of The Forgotten Warrior, when the Grand Inquisitor perverts the law in his genocidal plot to kill every man, woman, and child in the untouchable cast. Only the traitor, Ashok Vadal, and the Sons of the Black Sword stand in his way. If it's war he wants, it is war he will get. Bain Books presents Destroyer of Worlds. Available September 1st, wherever books are sold. Visit MonsterHunterNation.com for more. On a multidimensional probe, the Syscov Trans-Temporal Vehicle Clio discovers two entire universes have been annihilated in a massive time-traveling accident. Robert Kaminsky and his crew race home with the news, only to learn their own universe is next. To pull off the impossible, they'll have to embrace the unpalatable by placing their trust in the admin, Syscov's xenophobic sister universe, and the same people who tried to kill them all only months before. The Valkyrie Protocol by David Weber and Jacob Hollow. Available October 6th, wherever books are sold. Visit Bain Books at Bain.com for more.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com. What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can't do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me.
Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa. Hey. Who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't going to make it.
Wait on the calendar. Now. Wait a minute.
Whoa.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me?
Because you scared me.
What am I being detained for? You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this?
Bureaucrats
Democrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything you want here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Would you go to a concert if you had to stay in a little bubble? Or a big bubble.
A big plastic bubble.
Diameter bubble, which, as Gene the Christian Anarchist points out on our chat server, he says the bubbles are definitely sealed or they wouldn't maintain their shape. So, yeah. Those people are in these bubbles, and what do you do if you have to go pee?
Can I? Oh, yeah, that's a good.
Concert's over.
Do you get out of the bubble? Because if you look at this video,
that's a good question.
These bubbles are packed in, right? Just like people would be packed into a concert.
How would you go any place? How would you move through this floor?
Right, because normally if your people are packed into a concert, you can still snake through a crowd and you can get to the exit and you go out to the restrooms, right. No problem. But here, you're literally pushed up against, your bubble is pushed up against however many other bubbles are surrounding it. And can you just kind of push your way out? No, I don't think you can at least easily push your way through a crowd of bubbles like this. It would be a lot more difficult.
You know what my question is? While you're in the bubble, do you have to wear the mask?
An excellent question. They do say that in this...
What? F the masks, that's all I'm saying. But, I can imagine a place where they're going to have one of these, and somebody's like, oh, sorry, sir, you can't be in the bubble unless you wear the mask.
Right.
It does say here in this article at nme.com, which has the video of this show by the Flaming Lips, where everybody was in bubbles. It does say, as an extra safety precaution, fans at the Oklahoma City gig were asked to wear a face mask and practice social distancing when not inside their bubble. So if they could somehow climb out and go to the restroom, then they had to have their masks.
What if somebody just has too good of a time and passes out in the bubble?
Good question. Because how much CO2 is going to be in there, as Gene points out?
Can I get my bubble filled with nitrous so I can have an extra good time?
It's hard enough to make a living doing live concert venues. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine how much more difficult it is now in order to have the staff that helps people in and out of their bubbles fills them up with whatever.
They'll have to have the bubble equivalent of a lifeguard, a bubble guard.
Yeah,
right.
Right. I mean, I don't even get it.
Imagine that being your job.
I'm a bubble guard. What do? I sit up on this perch at concerts and watch for people passing out or urinating themselves in their concert bubbles
or barfing in the bubble.
Right, yeah.
Somebody that night barfed in the bubble.
Oh, do you suppose somebody? We need to find that person. If somebody barfed in their bubble, we need to.
No, they would have to, number one, admit that they barfed in the bubble, and secondly, admit they were actually at this concert.
Find their
I didn't
friend.
say they did number one in the bubble. I said they barfed.
Let's find their friend who has the cell phone footage. Right, for later incrimination. Because if you were my friend and you barfed in your bubble at a bubble concert, I would take footage of that.
Let's go to Jerome in Charleston, South Carolina. Jerome, would you? I know you were calling about Trump, but
would Trump go to a concert in a bubble?
No, would you, Jerome? Would you actually attend a show where you had to wear a bubble around you in order to attend it, a sealed bubble?
That's like asking me would I go to a Republican rally at a time like this. Hell no.
A sealed bubble, you'd be safe. What if they brought back the Temptations?
No. I'm not even taking a chance.
All right.
Hell no. Hell no.
All right.
Hey, is Trump insane enough? What other? Look, you've been talking to me for quite a while now. Mm-hmm. What other answer do you think you would get from me?
I don't know. I was honestly curious as to whether or not you thought a bubble concert would be an attractive thing. But you're not going to attend not because you're against the bubbles, but because you're deathly afraid of COVID and you still think that there's some risk even if you are in a bubble.
Hey, I'm also claustrophobic. I can't
Are you?
stand.
Okay, that's a good reason then.
Hey, look, I have a hard time getting on. We got an elevator in the building, that I live in, and it gives me the
creeps,
the willies to get on the elevator to come up with just a couple of floors. So hey,
I got you.
you ain't
That's a
getting
good
me into
excuse.
stupid bubble.
Yep. All right. So what were you calling about?
But is Trump, is he insane enough? Now these doctors work overtime. It's like, I don't know, save his life or help him get over this whatever he allegedly had. Okay.
You talking about COVID?
Because I just talked to someone a couple of days ago. Said, oh, they don't think he was sick at all. They think it was just some kind of stunt to get sympathy from the people.
Okay. So this is a
okay?
Democrat conspiracy theory, right? The idea that Trump faked COVID in order to make it look like he beat it, because the official line is that COVID is so dangerous. Of course, it would have killed Trump if he'd actually gotten COVID, right?
Look, he had like 100 doctors around him. Okay. There ain't no way.
Well, 100 doctors doesn't make you more likely to survive a virus.
No, I don't know. I think better medical care makes you more likely in catching things early. Sure.
100 doctors does not increase your likelihood of surviving a virus more than one doctor would. It's just an opinion.
You can't get better health care that he got, okay?
That's
I've been in the hospital a couple of times. I've had a couple of serious operations, okay? Hey, look, thank God for the people I had to help me, but I never had 100 doctors, a bunch of doctors around me like that, okay? It gives me the creeps just to have doctors, like, they would come and stand outside my door in the morning time, to talk about my case and everything before they came in to talk to me, because I didn't like that. But they used to do it. I'm sure he had a plethora, an armada of doctors around him, all right? But what is he doing? He's back in these stupid rallies again, begging people to vote for him. What he's begging? Oh, telling the women, oh, please like me, and saying all this crazy nonsense. All right.
Well, what are you worried about, Jerome? I mean, I heard that the polls show that Joe Biden's got a huge lead on Trump. I mean, isn't it pretty much a done deal? Are you worried that he's going to win?
Look, I'm not trusting anything until the final results are in, okay?
Good point.
I saw what happened the last time, all right?
You can't trust these pollsters.
But the last time, Hunter Biden didn't have a crack pipe in his mouth.
That's true. But they found a bunch of Hillary emails last time, too. Remember that?
Yeah, but they didn't say much.
They talk about Biden's son, all right? But what about Trump's children, man? Have you looked at their combined...
They look a lot better than these pictures I saw of Hunter Biden.
Well, I mean, if you found some cracked out photos of Ivanka Trump, she probably wouldn't look so good either.
No, probably not.
But that hasn't happened, right?
I saw a story about her today. Said, oh, Trump loves her more than he loves his wife. That wouldn't be hard to believe. I mean, he wants to have sex with her, so that wouldn't be hard to believe.
I think he said that he wanted to have sex with her, didn't he?
He said if he wasn't her father or something.
Right, like
it's a bizarre statement.
Right.
But
didn't O.J. Simpson write the book If I Did It?
Right. It kind of felt like he was saying my daughter is very attractive in a really creepy way.
The question was, he was sitting around on a panel with several women, and the question was, what do you and your father, ask Ivanka, what do you and your father have in common? She said golf. And then when they asked him, he said sex.
Thank you, Jerome, for your call tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. So we're talking about the lameification of entertainment. You've got concerts now where they're literally putting people in plastic bubbles. It's actually happening. There's footage. This is real, and people are going to accept this as apparently the option for the future, or go to a lame drive-in concert. I got to say, I'm not sure which one's worse, honestly. They're both pretty lame.
Yeah, I'm still flabbergasted by, the fact that government has shut down art, not just in the United States, but globally because of this thing.
I mean, it's definitely government to a large extent, but to another extent, it's also social pressure. So some of these artists are being pressured to be afraid of COVID or to act as though that they are concerned about this because the Twitter mob or whoever, they'll come after them.
Right.
There was some girl named Lana Del Rey. I guess she's a pop music artist. She went to a book. She's got a book. She went to a book signing and she wore some kind of a non-mask. It was like just kind of like a holy thing, face covering.
It was
basically.
not sufficiently mask.
Right. It wasn't an actual mask.
It was like chainmail or something.
Yeah, it was easy. She could breeze through. No big deal. But her fans went off on her.
People on
the internet.
Twitter went off on her. We don't know whether it was her fans or not. Some of them certainly.
We know that some of them will freak out over this stuff, Mark. There's more coming up here. It's Free Talk Live.
Do you have health or energy challenges? Would you like to support your health and energy from a product that people consistently feel the uplifting and health-building effects from the first day they consume it? I introduce you to Green Meadow Whey, the only whey protein powder from grass-pastured cows that is processed in a manner that ensures that the proteins and amino acids remain in their correct geometric shape that the body can use. The naturally occurring proteins, peptides, and amino acids in renatured whey are proven to support multiple aspects of human health, from complementing your immune system to neutralizing chronic inflammation to supporting detoxification to stabilization of blood sugar and more. Additionally, due to the Tesla-like frequencies encoded into Green Meadow Whey, it is a dramatic support for your energy and mood. And it is an excellent emergency preparedness food with well over a 5-year shelf life. To order, call 888-988-3325. That's 888-988-3325. Or visit greenmeadowway.com. greenmeadowway.com.
Attention business owners body slammed by overwhelming debt. If your business is in trouble, hassled by creditors, if you're frustrated, finally fed up with big business bailouts while your business has been left for dead, please listen close. There's a brand new fast-track bankruptcy. Some have even called it the biggest small business bailout in American history. Designed for individuals and their businesses. And look, almost no one knows about this yet. My attorney wasn't even aware of it. The truth is, beating the system has never been easy because it's rigged in a sense against the little guy. But here's the jaw-dropping news nobody's talking about. They've literally just changed the system so that you can beat it, but only if you understand how the new game has to be played. Find out if you qualify at pocketsoflight.com. This government-backed small business repair program is still legal, but may not be renewed after the election. Fight back fairly, fight back ethically at pocketsoflight.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
I'm crazy about My Magic Mud. This is the most important oral care product created this millennium, and I'm not kidding. We all have different opinions on politics and issues, but we all have mouths. And I want yours to be as clean as possible, with teeth as bright as they were meant to be. I will never be without My Magic Mud. It's a little surprising, but man, does it work. If you only listen to one thing I say ever, go to mymagicmud.com and get 20% off with code FTL. mymagicmud.com, code FTL.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
No fun allowed. This is 2020. You shan't have fun. No entertainment.
And whatever bubbles up, we will crush it.
We're talking about these bubble concerts.
Bubble puns are difficult.
Bubbles.
And we're going to tell you more about it, but we're also going to go to your calls and thoughts. Also, how lame can Halloween get? We're going to find out. In some towns, they're canceling it.
Hate to burst your bubble.
Yeah. Sorry, kids. Thought you were going to have fun this Halloween? Nope. It's been like costumes all year, though, hasn't it?
Okay, so I'd like to propose an anarchist Halloween.
Oh, yeah?
And that is to say, just go ahead and have Halloween, everybody. Governments don't own the frickin' holiday.
Yeah. Just bring your kids around.
Sure. You just want the cops to start shooting kids in the streets and arresting them? Is that what you want?
Well, if cops decide to shoot kids over trick-or-treating in my street, it is going to be an anarchist Halloween.
You think that would start the boogaloo?
It's on. I mean, like, seriously, shooting kids over trick-or-treating?
Look, we're just trying to keep you safe.
Yeah, well.
So, let's see. Also want to let you know.
That's when you get Republicans to set cars and buildings on fire.
You think?
Yes.
Also want to let you know about Divi, where it is super easy to set up a masternode. You can do that over at diviproject.org. Get the instructions. It's really just a matter of downloading the Divi full node wallet and pressing the right buttons. I mean, it's super easy to do. diviproject.org can get you started there. You can buy Divi at several exchanges or directly from the Divi team, as they call it, over the counter. That helps protect you from pushing up exchange prices when you make a big purchase. Go to diviproject.org to learn more about Divi. As we continue with your calls and thoughts, Pete is in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, listening to WRNN. Go ahead, Pete.
Yeah, hi. How you doing? It's me, Dr. Fauci.
Oh, well, hello.
That's a pretty good Fauci.
Sound like you've had some scotch and a couple of cigars.
Sorry, what?
It's a good idea to wear a mask. Wait a minute. I changed my mind. It's not a good idea to wear a mask. Don't wear a mask, okay? Because we need them.
He also said to wear goggles at one point.
Yeah, we got to have goggles. Are you kidding me? You people are crazy. I'm 80 years old. I know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I'm in Myrtle Beach, and we have had no live entertainment here all year.
Really?
And the places that I'm a musician. I came to Myrtle Beach from Nashville to play, and I had all sorts of stuff lined up. And after the COVID came, everybody just canceled one by one. So I've been sitting around, and musicians don't have unemployment insurance.
No.
So this has been a really shitty year.
Oh, my God. You can't say that on the air. I'm so sorry, because I'm sure you're really passionate about what you do.
You can't say that in the air. I don't care whether you have goggles on or a mask or whatever. You cannot say the S word on the air. This is radio.
A little bit of a bubble negative there.
Yeah. I've never heard that guy's voice, so I presume that's a pretty good
Fauci?
impression.
It's not bad.
Is he a New Yorker?
It felt like Long Island or something. Yeah.
So our caller there was very upset because it was a crappy situation, and unfortunately we can't let that word go on the air, so he had to drop his call. But Captain, you can relate. You've been in a band for a long time previous to moving to New Hampshire. You were
20
playing
plus years.
Multiple bands in the Seattle area, and so I'm sure you've heard from some of your former bandmates and buddies. I
had actually teased this for Monday earlier in the show, but I just was looking at it now, and this is actually occurring as we speak. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday of this week.
What is this?
SaveOurStages.com. This is musicians, basically, and everybody who works around the music industry, right? So
the
roadies, sound people, light people, the venues themselves, right? These independent venues who have had no income since March,
right,
are doing a fundraiser for themselves.
Wow.
To save our stages. And it is...
this is just Seattle?
No, this is the National Independent Venue Association. The NIVA is partnering with YouTube for a 3-day virtual music festival to #Save Our Stages. It's streaming.
Lame-a-palooza.
It is, yeah. It's literally Bubble-palooza.
It's Lame-a-palooza.
Whatever it is. It's going on right now, actually, as well as tomorrow and Sunday. There's a bunch of featured artists that I've never heard of.
So what's the idea? You pay to get into this online venue, and you can watch people stream a musical performance, and then the money goes to keep businesses that are venues afloat, basically, in the hope that someday someone will be able to perform there?
Yeah, it's hosted by Reggie Watt. They have a donate now. It benefits the NIVA Emergency Relief Fund. They're basically pleading to Congress. They're begging
Oh, they want a bailout.
Yeah, with nearly 2 million letters sent, we're still
Congress
hoping.
And these lawmakers of all stripes, up and down the dial, they are the ones responsible for killing this business, at the very least in part.
Yeah, I agree with you, and that's where I wanted to go earlier.
From their website, real quick, with nearly 2 million letters sent, we're still hoping Congress does the right thing and passes legislation that will save our stages. The truth is that while we wait for Congress, many venues are at risk of closing forever if they don't get help today. Now, we've talked about this a bunch.
The banks need bailouts. You can't give the money to the artists. The banks need bailouts.
They have a link. You can do a one-time or a monthly donation of various. It's basically a GoFundMe.
Yeah.
But what I was trying to say earlier when I brought up this other singer, Lana Del Rey, with the critique she was taking, it's not just people on Twitter, Mark. I mean, I know that Twitter is a bad place or whatever, and Reddit's bad, and a lot of these social medias just encourage bad behavior because people are hiding behind their monitors or whatever. But the reality is there are a lot of people who believe in this. That's the reason why you see so many businesses kowtowing. This whole COVID thing. That people have bought into this. That's why a lot of people are out wearing masks around. It's not just because the government mandates it in some places, because there's a significant amount of the population who has bought this hook, line, and sinker. And so if somebody that they respected prior to COVID comes out like Van Morrison did, and Van Morrison is like making protest songs about this, and he's saying, I want to perform. He's like coming out against this whole COVID crackdown thing. He is being lambasted, not just on Twitter, but Rolling Stone magazine. Other major media outlets are targeting these people. This Lana Del Rey, there was headlines all over the place. How dare she not wear a mask, a proper mask in public? This woman is horrible. She hates your grandparents. She wants to kill everyone. And they actually believe this.
Right.
So
I mean, I'm looking.
That's why That's why a lot of these businesses, they don't even want to reopen. Remember when Georgia was the first state to, quote, reopen? And, of course, we know that I'm putting quotes around reopen because there was all these stupid rules about, you got to have this table. You got it can't have a table next to a table, so you got to put a big X on the restaurant tables, and you can only have every other table, and you can only have 50% capacity. But they were, quote, reopening. Well, there was an article about how some restaurateurs weren't even going to reopen because they were worried about what their customers would think. So it wasn't about trying to keep their business alive and trying to serve what few customers would be willing to come in the door. They were worried that they'd upset other customers that they'd had previously that they knew were sensitive about how they do things. And so they would just rather not reopen at all and just wait until they can reopen the way they wanted to reopen, to where they can put in whatever dumb procedures their customers. So the point I'm trying to make is there's some of these business owners who won't do it because they're afraid of what the market will do to them.
If you look at weekly number of deaths from the Center for Disease Control,
they're not looking at that.
I know they're not. Yeah. People don't want to know about facts, right? Center for Disease Control. It's really hard to argue with this organization as far as deaths in America. I mean, yes,
I'll argue with them. It's the government. They're liars.
Cases are way up, but so what? It doesn't affect the vast majority of people. At this point, basically, deaths are well below 60,000, which is the top
total.
end. Per week.
Okay. Oh, per week. Okay.
60,000 per week, which is
that's
basically
all deaths from all things, right?
All deaths from all things, and that's the number of deaths that's sort of the top end. It goes between 50 and 60,000 every single week. So at this point, I declare COVID have been being done in August.
Let's talk to Lane in Southwest Arkansas. Lane, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Glad y'all mentioned the roadies, and hope they do a good job on getting some money, because I work for an entertainment production company, and hell, we've even done Tony Robbins shows. So these guys are like, there's no money, there's nothing. We're broke.
Yeah,
I'm broke. Sound guys, lighting guys, rigging guys,
hands, all of them.
Set guys, the stage hands that show up. That, they're not supposed to think from the neck up from the stage hands. That's the big thing that they say. That they don't have any money. Nobody has any money. We are freaking, my company, the company that I work for right now, is just about going to be going under in about another 4 months.
Oh, yeah.
And it's because of this kung flu that's going around here and the scaring situation that is happening. And y'all talked about this bubble concert. Well, how do they sell alcohol? How does the venue make any money when you put people in bubbles? You can't sell alcohol.
Right.
All great questions.
You can pour it in a spout from the top of the bubble. Thanks for the call tonight, Lane. I appreciate it, man. 855-450.
Bring in a flask.
That was butt chugging.
Freedom.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now's your chance to be part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for everyone to use it in everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that's as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Focusing on battleground states, I'm Joe Chiro, Fox News. President Trump continues a campaign blitz, speaking today in Michigan and Wisconsin. He's hosting an event in Janesville, Wisconsin this hour after speaking earlier in Muskegon, Michigan, where he made a plea to moderate Democrats.
If you're a moderate Democrat or liberal who knows that your party has gone totally off the rails, you have a moral duty to immediately stop this lunacy. You must, by law, join the Republican Party.
The president campaigns tomorrow in Nevada after spending the night in Las Vegas. Joe Biden is taking the day off after making campaign stops this week in battleground states.
The Biden campaign was on the road this week, making multiple campaign stops in those battleground states, including Michigan last night. The former vice president trying to rally workers outside of Detroit in Southfield. Tomorrow, Biden's going to be making his way down south, visiting Durham, North Carolina, trying to encourage people to take advantage of the state's early voting was just began a few days ago, and already they're seeing massive turnout.
Fox's Mark Meredith. Meanwhile, a memo to staff by the Biden campaign manager says the race remains much closer than the narrative on Twitter and TV suggests. A new poll about a possible COVID-19 vaccine shows a mix of opinions.
Less than half of Americans are willing to take a coronavirus vaccine when one becomes available, according to a new Associated Press NORC poll. 48% of white Americans say they are willing to take the vaccine, while only 22% of black Americans say they'll take the vaccine despite being at a greater risk for COVID-19 related complications.
Fox's Charles Watson. Illinois, Wisconsin, and Indiana on Friday all breaking their records for the most COVID cases reported in a single day. America is listening to Fox News.
2020 hasn't let up, but we have to keep this economy rolling. NetSuite will help your business make that happen. That's why over 21,000 companies, including Boll & Branch, makers of the world's softest sheets, choose NetSuite by Oracle, the world's #1 cloud business system. NetSuite gives you visibility and control over your financials, HR, inventory, e-commerce, and more. Everything you need all in one place. We talked to David Reed, CFO of Boll & Branch, about how they use NetSuite.
Before NetSuite, we were stitched together with spreadsheets and hope. Now I have only one source of truth for our financials, HR, inventory, and supply chain. Because NetSuite is cloud-based, working from home didn't change a thing. We're still bringing affordable luxury into homes all across America. I'm now closing the books 5 to 10 times faster thanks to NetSuite.
Let NetSuite show you how they'll benefit your business with a free product tour at netsuite.com/Fox. Schedule your free product tour right now at netsuite.com/Fox. netsuite.com/Fox.
San Francisco used to be one of the most desirable and expensive places to live in the world, but people are leaving the city by the bay in droves.
This exodus is being fueled by tech workers who are seizing the chance to work remotely from a more affordable area.
If everyone's working from home, we need room for our Zoom calls. We need to make sure that our kid can sleep in the other room. And so there are all these reasons we suddenly need more space, and San Francisco has got to be about the worst place in the country to find square footage for your dollars.
Others are just looking for a better quality of life. Many say they can't enjoy the attractions that drew them to San Francisco. From the museums to the restaurants and nightlife, thousands of businesses are shuttered permanently, while crime, rampant homelessness, and open-air drug use have only gotten worse.
Fox's Claudia Cowan. Another crackdown has been okayed by China's government after unrest in Hong Kong.
China's newly amended national
LRN.FM's free-to-air satellite feeds blanket most of 2 continents. It was my goal to put our channel there so people without internet could receive our programs and feed pirate radio stations. As our contract with our satellite provider is coming up for another 3-year renewal, I have to consider calling it quits. It's rare that we get feedback or support from our satellite users. We started a fundraiser a few years ago, and though there are a bunch of great contributors to it, as of this recording, it covers 15% of our monthly satellite costs. Please email lrn@lrn.fm and tell me how you use the satellite feed. Better yet, chip in at fund.lrn.fm. The costs aren't the issue. We can afford them, but why continue something not valued by the market? Want to help? You can join our satellite fundraiser for just $2 a month at fund.lrn.fm. If we raise enough to keep both channels on the air, awesome. If we raise more, I'll add more channels. If not, we can shut them down and go internet only. It's up to you. Thank you for your support. Fund.lrn.fm.
It's the Onion Radio News. An area man doesn't know what to do with all the extra ketchup packets. This is Doyle Redland reporting. After finishing his Big Bacon Classic combo, Erie, Pennsylvania resident and Wendy's patron Don Turnby, 38, expressed uncertainty today regarding what to do with all the extra ketchup packets. Turnby had asked for extra ketchup upon placing his order for a ketchup-necessitating Biggie fries.
Well, I knew it was too many ketchups because I usually only need 3 or 4 for my Biggie fries, but I just took them anyway.
At his nearby home, the Turnby pantry is crammed with hundreds of other restaurant condiments, including single-serving packets of Taco Bell mild sauce, Arby's horsey sauce, soy sauce, McDonald's Chicken McNuggets hot mustard sauce, pats of shed spread country crock from Ponderosa Steakhouse, and a selection of Smucker's jellies and jams from several area diners. Doyle Redland for the Onion Radio News, online at theonion.com.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, and you're invited to join us here on the radio. You can take control of the airwaves and bring up anything that's on your mind. Free Talk Live is brought to you by Bitcoin.com. Cryptocurrency is a thing, and it's going to continue to be a thing, so you should actually look into it.
A decade on, it's not going away anytime soon.
Yeah, you should definitely take the time to get the basics down, and they can help you with that over at Bitcoin.com. Just click on Get Started, and there's some videos there. You can watch one of them. It's like 2 minutes, 3 minutes long, something like that. Give you a great overview of what makes Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash different. You can go to Bitcoin.com. As we jump into more about how things are just so sad, so lame, We talked about the bubble concerts in the last hour. The idea that in order to attend a concert by the Flaming Lips, you had to actually get into a 6-foot wide, 6-foot diameter bubble, and then stand in the bubble, sealed in this bubble, for however long the concert was, say an hour, hour and a half, or whatever.
I'm now referring to this as a hermetically sealed concert.
If this was commentary on how ridiculous things have gotten in the world,
that's what it is.
I would expect, I would applaud it. If it's art that surrounds that commentary, I'm for it. If this is like seriously what the world's going to be like in the future, man, it is sad. And
it really is.
I mean,
it's all about fear.
The majority of people who are listening to me right now have gone to a restaurant in the last couple weeks or month.
Have they?
And yeah, I think so. And they have worn their mask in. They have sat down, removed their mask.
Stop doing that crap.
And it's obvious theater, though. You know,
stop performing in it.
Well, that's what's
You're not
obvious.
being paid to be a theater performer here,
It's
so
obvious,
stop it.
It's obvious performance. You know, that's all I'm saying.
I don't know if you're right about that, Mark, because as far as like people going to restaurants, I think you're presuming too much. There's a fair number of people who aren't going to restaurants at all. You can read the articles by the the media reporting on the restaurant business, and the restaurateurs are like, we're barely making it here in like cities like Boston, for instance.
Sure.
They're barely eking out, getting the bills paid, and that's by having people sitting outside. There's a whole story that we never got into because it was just too lengthy on the air here, but I did look at it, in depth off the air, where it was all about what. Oh my God, what are we going to do? It's getting cold out there. Our customers don't want to come inside and eat. So they're getting feedback from the few customers they do have. By no means has it been an avalanche of customers coming back. But what customers are willing to venture out and then sit outside, they're saying, we're not so sure about going indoors to actually eat. So the restaurateurs are building what they're describing as igloos, which are essentially half bubbles.
Yeah.
That are stationary and are encasing an outdoor table and chairs with an inside heating device inside this igloo, just so their customers will feel safe going out to eat. So that's the kind of pussies that we're talking about dealing with here.
So they're making another. I mean, it's basically its own tiny restaurant.
Outdoor tables inside igloos, up to $1,700 per igloo, according to one of these restaurateurs.
I mean, like somehow you're really being protected by this. It doesn't even make any sense.
No, it doesn't have to make sense.
Somebody ate dinner in there not too long ago.
Well, I'm sure they'll say it's been sanitized. We went in, we sprayed everything down with this and that.
It's sufficient because at this point, I'm looking at the deaths from this disease, and it's over.
Oh, but Mark, someone could still die.
Yes, they could.
So we have to
act
will.
Like next week. Between 50 and 60,000 people will die in America, and they'll die
from COVID.
Well, some of them will die of COVID,
but that number is the total number.
I should say they will die with COVID.
That number is the total number of deaths from everything, though.
Right, 50 to 60,000 people died in America every single week since I've been alive. Mm-hmm. Well, it's probably was lower when I was younger because there are fewer people in America. But over the last several years, 50 to 60,000 people died every single week, and nobody had a heart attack over it. Well, some of them did.
People die. People are born.
The restaurant experience is lame, and I stole this from the internet somewhere. I don't know who the actual author is, but it's, point by point. What happens when you go to a restaurant? Arrive at a restaurant, fish your 3-month-old single-use surgical mask out of your car's filthy cup holder.
Yep.
Still slightly sticky from this morning's 84-ounce Diet Pepsi. Strap up with 3-month-old single-use surgical mask. Magical anti-germ barrier engaged. Number 3, proceed into restaurant. Opening door with same handle grabbed by 200 people so far today.
Yep.
Number 4, hostess has immediate seating for your woke party of 3. Walk past entire restaurant of unmasked people. It's okay. They're sitting. Number 5.
Sitting people can't spread the disease.
No. Number 5, sit down. Seated anti-germ force field engaged. Number 6, safely within your anti-germ force field, remove your mask. Browse menu while making relaxed inhales of the same recirculated air-conditioned air previously inside inside the lungs of the same 200 people that also grabbed the door handle. Number 7, waitress drops off your drinks barehanded.
Yep.
Number 8, grab drink with your bare hand. Sip leisurely. Secure it knowing you're within your anti-germ force field of seatedness. Number 9, too many drinks, need to pee. Don the magical anti-germ barrier mask as you leave your anti-germ force field of seatedness. Number 10, walk past 40 unmasked restaurant patrons. Open bathroom with same doorknob grabbed by 100 people so far today. Number
Hopefully
11,
they wash their hands.
return to table past the same 40 unmasked restaurant patrons. I think that's it.
We get the picture.
We get the picture. I mean, it's fine, but it's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, I got to say, I've never done that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to contribute to this medical authoritarian nightmare that we're living in. And I think that everybody that does that is contributing to it. So stop. Okay? If you actually think this is ridiculous, as we do, I think, on the air here, then stop giving it power. Stop giving it your participation. Let's go to John. He's in Dover, Delaware, listening to WDOV. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I want to say that I have stopped giving it power. I haven't been out to eat at a restaurant probably since this whole epidemic or whatever.
I go out every day.
Started in March. I go out. I go out in public. I go outside.
I go out to restaurants every day.
Restaurants. I'm in Delaware, man. You can't go in anywhere in this state unless you have a mask
Really?
on, man.
Even with a
And
medical
you better be
objection?
6 feet away. I'm talking about Royal Farms, the Wawa, McDonald's, any gas
So you
station,
can't use a
any
medical
mom and
exemption
pop
in
store.
Delaware?
You can try and use the medical exemption. The problem is a lot of people are using a medical exemption and it's being overused. So people that actually have a medical problem legitimately are sometimes getting denied to even go into the store because so many people are faking it, man. This whole thing
Well, I'm
is
not faking it.
ridiculous.
I need to have oxygen
We
to
don't need to be wearing
live.
these masks, dude.
Yeah,
this
no,
is outrageous. We look like ridiculous beings, man, with these face diapers on, walking around, not socializing. It's weird, man. It's all about control. They love to control us, and that's all that's going on right now.
Yeah,
man.
I have heard
I want to go throw up.
I have heard of people being refused entry or business because they were asked to provide a doctor's note for their exemption.
Where was this?
I don't remember, but I have it somewhere for one of.
Was it around here or somewhere outside of New
It was
Hampshire?
an article that I read, so I don't know how local it was to
Did
New
they
Hampshire.
have the doctor's note?
Well, I don't even know if there's such a thing. I don't know if you can go to your doctor.
Yeah, you can get a doctor to write it
I know a
and go,
doctor who will write you a
Have
note
you guys
no matter
seen
what.
the movie The Joker?
Oh,
No.
yeah. Yeah,
He
I've seen
has
it.
that card, man, because he has the laughing disorder. So maybe you can get like some sort of card from the doctor, like
Well,
the Joker.
they make
has,
those,
you know,
but
he goes to those laughing fits.
There's somebody here
Here's
in
my
town.
card, man. I'm a maniac.
There's somebody here in town that has a lanyard that says it's the quote of the law where it says medical exemption for this, that, and the other thing, and he wears that, and that's what he uses. Now, that's fine if that's what you want to do, but I don't feel like in order to be a free man, I need to show paperwork in order to be free. That's not how free men
that's
operate.
called a hall pass.
We stopped being free as soon as we started listening to them tell us wear these masks everywhere that we go.
No,
And
we
gave
stopped
up
being
our
free way
freedom,
before
man.
that.
Yeah,
I just tell them that I'm not breathing.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. I was wrong on that statement. You're right about that.
But
sir.
this is the most
Prove
obvious.
I'm breathing.
Okay, and John, thank you for the call tonight. I appreciate it. People stopped being free when they started being told what to do and accepting it. And that was decades and generations ago. And this is just the most recent step on the part of the state to impose their way upon our lives. And some people, thankfully, this has been that line that needed to be crossed for them. We're coming up.
News from news.bitcoin.com. $9 trillion, a third of the U.S. debt, has been created just since September 2019. The Bank of China's new digital currency has been used in more than 3 million transactions, worth more than $1 billion won. Still nothing from the U.S. Federal Reserve's digital currency. John McAfee indicted for tax evasion and SEC violations. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies, getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com.
From New York Times and Wall Street Journal bestselling author Larry Correia comes the latest chapter in the epic military fantasy saga of The Forgotten Warrior, when the Grand Inquisitor perverts the law in his genocidal plot to kill every man, woman, and child in the untouchable cast. Only the traitor, Ashok Vadal, and the Sons of the Black Sword stand in his way. If it's war he wants, it is war he will get. Bain Books presents Destroyer of Worlds. Available September 1st, wherever books are sold. Visit MonsterHunterNation.com for more.
Join liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians from June 28th through July 4th for ForkFest 2021 at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. ForkFest happens the week after the Porcupine Freedom Festival, and ForkFest is decentralized, which means no one is in charge. That also means there's no ticket cost. Just reserve your camping, RV site, or motel room with Rogers Campground for June 28th through July 4th. Where better to celebrate Independence Day than around other freedom-loving activists in the Shire? You can relax and enjoy the camaraderie of like-minded people, or you can create whatever experience or event you'd like others to have. If you're planning an event for ForkFest, be sure to let others know in advance. You can connect with fellow ForkFesters via the unofficial Telegram chat or the ForkFest forum. Links to those are on the unofficial website, forkfest.party. Mark your calendar for June 28th through July 4th, 2021. We'll see you at forkfest.party. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. Please do not call with a mask on. It will not. Yeah,
hey guys, first time call.
Right. It's about being free to talk, and masks restrict your freedom of expression. Obviously, you can't express yourself with your facial expressions.
Yeah, if we ever become, masked up Talk Live, then I think I'm out.
Yeah, you can count me out too. So a lot of lame stuff going on out there. Bubble concerts and towns canceling Halloween. Sex restrictions. We're going to get into that story coming up here in just a moment out of the UK. You looking confused, Mark? You've not heard about this
sex
yet?
restrictions?
Oh,
No.
yeah. Oh, yeah. They're going to tell you, as long as you do what they say, they're going to keep telling you what to do. And that's the point I was making before, is our caller had pointed out that, oh, well, this is, this is, what is proven that we're not free. Well, no, we were already not free because people were going along to get along when it came to registering their business with the government, jumping through whatever arbitrary hoops they put on as far as regulations are concerned. All these government bureaucrats trying to tell you how to upgrade your house. You got to get your government permission slip before you let somebody go work on the roof or whatever, whatever it is, just all kinds of control, all kinds of obedience. And so the masks are just the next step. That's all. And for some people, it's been a step too far. And good. Welcome aboard to those of us who are saying, forget this.
First time.
Yeah, the state is evil. The state is about obedience. They want your obedience and they want your money. And strapping on a mask is just the next obedience step.
They'll use violence to gain your compliance.
That's right, and the threat of violence. And so, when I was saying earlier, is stop going along with it, stop putting these masks on, stop going through the motions, going through this ritual, this statist, authoritarian, medical hellscape ritual. Some people, I'm sure, are going to say, but they could find me. So? I mean, the people prior to these generations, the ones who founded this country, they could have been shot.
Hung, yes.
Yeah, and they went ahead and they risked everything they had in order to try to make a better place. Didn't work out, but, they gave it their best shot.
They knew that being free meant standing up to the bullies.
That's right.
And these days, there's a lot of talk, especially around like mom circles and kids and schools and all that, about bullies and how to deal with bullies. And what they never say is government is the largest bully that has ever graced planet Earth.
That's right.
Yeah, I was thinking about something relatively recently, which is sort of how do people get to be rich, right? You
generally don't spend more than you take in. That would be step one.
Right. That's a good place to start.
Step two, go into politics.
Well, that's the thing is that there's basically three types of rich people. There are those that were born into money. Good for them. Congratulations.
Yeah, a lot of them lose it, though.
Yeah, they do. They don't do that well with it. Usually, in America, most families lose their wealth within 3 generations. And that's because the person who can put wealth together doesn't manage to teach their kids how to be thrifty, because their kids learn,
spoiled.
Yeah, they get spoiled, basically, I think is probably the best way to describe it. There's, that one. So you're born into wealth. Big deal. There's the people that produced something that other people wanted badly enough. They improved the marketplace, and the marketplace rewarded them.
Yep.
Right? So a person who comes to mind is like Sam Walton. Yeah. People want to say bad things about Walmart, but this guy
success story.
Yeah, he managed to deliver lower prices every day in a variety of ways, and it's great. Now, Walmart certainly isn't what it used to be under Sam Walton, but nonetheless. And then the last one is those that use the machinations of the state to become wealthy. Now, not only are the Walmarts out there that manage to get tax breaks and these kind of things, and that's yucky, but think about the members of Congress. They're all rich.
Sure.
I mean, the most of them come in paupers.
How did they get that way on a $100,000 a year salary?
Right. How did they do it? And they just keep doing it over and over again. And the government is really this, and it's all because of what we think in our heads. The government's still the only way that you can lie, cheat, and be evil and make money, because the marketplace will not reward that behavior otherwise. You must be, Zig Ziglar is a great example of what a salesperson must be to achieve success, and he was always upright and honest. But you have to be upright and honest to be successful. People say all the kinds of things about used car salesmen, and I get it. There's a lot of liars out there in the world. But in order to be, you must be good in order to make money, except
in politics.
Having to do with politics.
I want to go to Debbie. She's in Columbia, South Carolina, listening to WQXL FM. Go ahead, Debbie.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Hey, welcome.
Hey,
good.
So I'm good. I listen occasionally when I'm in the kitchen this time of night. But what is your solution to not wearing a mask? We just all ignore that and just live life as normal?
That's right. That's my solution. People just act like free people and get out there and live life. Absolutely.
Yeah, nothing would make me happier than to see the majority of people just taking off the masks, not wearing them everywhere they go because they know that that is normal.
Ian and the captain here both have lived their lives. I've seen it in this manner. They are not wearing masks. I just forget to put my mask on every time I go in. And then if somebody tells me to, I pull it out of my pocket and put it on.
Yeah, that's still part of the problem.
Yeah, I don't look, I'm going to live my life.
Yeah, you do you, man.
I don't wear pants, nice pants and a belt at home either.
Yeah.
I just, run around however I want.
But Mark,
so
we're not in a state that has a mandate as far as masks. So some people are going to be a little more concerned about walking around without a mask. Debbie, what's it like there in South Carolina? Is there a state mandate?
There is, but not only that, my family member works at one of the hospitals, and he's one of the smartest people I know. I wish everyone would do it for a short amount of time and see what happens.
Well,
because
we did the lockdown for a short amount of time and we saw what happened.
Yeah, but did everybody do that? They didn't. There were so many people that were.
Debbie, have you heard about Sweden?
What are you referring to?
So it was Sweden, right?
Yeah,
Sweden barely put any restrictions down compared to all other countries on the planet, especially compared to their next door neighbors. And there was no significant difference between their results and everywhere else.
Okay. Do you have any idea of why our numbers are going up?
Your numbers aren't going up. The deaths in the deaths for the Center for Disease Control, I'm looking at the website right now, are nearly touching the number that they call excess deaths. I mean, they're almost there. They're well below 60,000, which is the peak for excess deaths during flu season. There are lots of people testing positive for COVID, but the vast majority of them are, doing better than Donald Trump did with his. Because
meaning they're not dying.
They're not dying. I mean, and remember, all of us are cancer survivors. Like every one of us right now that's listening to me has had cancer, and you didn't even know it. And COVID appears to be going down that path. It's meaningless.
I've never heard that before. What are you referring to, that we've all had cancer and survived it?
Type it in on Google.
There you go. Hey, thank you, Debbie, for the call tonight. I appreciate it. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. I mean, if you want to go lock yourself down, go right ahead. You can do whatever you want.
You do you. Whatever makes you feel safe.
Just don't tell me how to live my life. 855-450-FREE, like freedom. You can join us on the air. This is Free Talk Live.
News from news.bitcoin.com. $9 trillion, a third of the U.S. debt, has been created just since September 2019. The Bank of China's new digital currency has been used in more than 3 million transactions, worth more than $1 billion won. Still nothing from the U.S. Federal Reserve's digital currency. John McAfee indicted for tax evasion and SEC violations. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies, getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com. Divi's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divi's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to diviproject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from diviproject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. diviproject.org. DIVI project.org.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Live video of our key New Hampshire-based shows is streamed on DLive. Please follow and share at dlive.lrn.fm. That's dlive.lrn.fm.
Yep, it's Free Talk Live. Toll-free number here for you to join us is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. And also our Matrix chat server. You can access the details on how to connect to it by going to chat.lrn.fm. You get step-by-step instructions there. And thanks to Intercoin, every member of a community can receive a periodic airdrop of money they can use on necessities. This UBI can be funded by outside donors or by the community democratically voting to gradually inflate their internal money supply. Community currencies powered by Intercoin enable communities to help their own without waiting for the federal government and without disincentivizing paid work. The arrangement is completely voluntary and democratic. Intercoin is attempting to regain some of our freedoms that are threatened on the internet and in meat space. We think that's important here on Free Talk Live, so we accepted $40,000 worth of Intercoin tokens from Intercoin Incorporated for advertising. If you think freedom is important too, check out Intercoin at intercoin.org. You can invest in this project and potentially make big gains or just be involved and perhaps shape its future. Intercoin.org. We're going to go to your phone calls and thoughts. And then coming up, sex restrictions are coming back into play under this whole COVID crackdown insanity.
It's like deja vu.
We'll talk about that. And it's in the UK, but that doesn't mean it can't come to a city near you. We'll get into that coming up here in a moment. But first, Robert is on the line in Charleston, South Carolina, listening to WTMA. Go ahead, Robert.
Yes, I just wanted to say that with regard to freedom and being free of restrictions in life, actually none of us is free of those, and I don't think any of us would really want to be free.
I do.
Okay.
Of course you don't. You love the government. You've called this show a zillion times.
Let him make his point, please.
Go ahead, though.
Well, look at it this way. The wealthiest family in the world, when they make a phone call, he gets somebody to go to the phone. One of the people I know he gets somebody to go to the phone. That person makes the call, connects with the other side, say, Mr. Smith, Mr. So-and-so would like to speak with you. Would you wait one second, please, while I put him on? And then he takes the phone. But he's totally dependent upon other people. I remember one time in our family, we had a maid who would do the meals for us, and that maid quit. And my stepfather, who knew how to cook very, very well, and so did my mom. But my stepfather, he thought, oh my God, what are we going to do? She's quit. How are we going to? I mean, he practically couldn't.
What is the point you're trying to make here?
The point I'm trying to make is we're psychologically even dependent upon other people, and therefore we're not free.
Freedom has nothing to. I mean, yes,
you don't know what
people-
you're talking about.
People have to interact with other people. That's a basis of human nature. That has nothing to do with being free, particularly of government.
Well, hold on. Let me address this because I think I get where he's coming from. All right, so I'm in a relationship. I'm in a relationship. I have a wife. I have picked for myself, to some extent, a government. Right? Like there are things I simply cannot do in this relationship that I could do prior to that relationship. But I've exchanged things, and that is, like my life is better because she's around and these sorts of things. But at any time, Robert, I could choose not to be in that relationship, and I could give up all those advantages that I've gotten.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the difference, is that I can't be on my property that I bought here in the United States and choose not to pay for the government indoctrination centers that people call schools, the middle-class welfare babysitting day prisons that people call schools.
Or the bombs that they keep dropping.
Right. I can't choose to not pay for the
Or
bombs.
the cops kicking people's heads in.
Right. Any of these things that that I might disagree with, I can't choose to get out of that. Now, I can choose to leave, but if
No, you
I
can't.
do, hold on. If I do choose to leave, we have all acknowledged, if that's the claim, is, well, why don't you just leave? If at the very least we acknowledge the government claims our bodies and our land, that we weren't free in the first place.
You can only leave if the government lets you.
That's true. You have to buy their little passport thing, and
they'll stop you.
Then some other government would decide whether or not you can come in.
Well, and even if you earn outside of living in the U.S. of A., you're still taxed by the U.S. of A.
You won't even be able to get on that plane
until you fully expat and become a citizen of some other country where you're also taxed by them.
Yes.
If you don't have a passport, you're not boarding the plane.
It's true.
You're not getting the ticket.
Well, that depends. If you have your own plane, you can board it and you can fly out of the.
Oh, okay. So yeah, if you're rich enough, then
people could buy their freedom in Roman times too. As a matter of fact, people could buy their freedom in antebellum South. The fact that you can buy freedom only proves that you are in some sort of bondage.
Yes, there are different levels of freedom and different types of freedom.
Yep.
But there's no such thing as complete freedom. Try it.
There is no freedom from consequences. That's for sure.
Thanks for the call tonight. We aren't talking about freedom from consequences. We're talking about freedom from coercion of other human beings.
It's voluntary interactions.
From having human beings who are purportedly just like us, equals, supposedly, being able to claim that they're better, that they're somehow vaunted authorities, and they can decide whether or not you can wear a mask, or whether or not you can run a business, or whether or not you have the freedom to exist.
Through the magic of pageantry and costuming, a group of individuals suddenly has rights that you or I don't have as individuals.
They can decide that whether or not you can have sex. Captain Kickass, where is this story coming from?
So you may have heard us talk about this before here on Free Talk Live. This is a recurring theme, and this is the second time it has happened in the UK. Sex has been banned indoors for Tier 2 couples living apart. Number 10 confirmed.
What the hell is a Tier 2 couple?
It's the same thing as like Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3 the governments have here in the U.S.
They seriously have ratings for what your relationship
Tier 2,
is?
Tier 3, all that kind of thing.
Wow.
Right?
Wait. It's not about your relationship. It's about is it about the geographic area in which you're in?
Couples living apart in areas with Tier 2 restrictions are not allowed to have sleepovers unless they are in a variations on a theme, unless they are in a support bubble, quote unquote.
Jesus.
Downing Street confirmed today. Boyfriends and girlfriends will be able to meet outdoors in Tier 2, but are expected to adhere to social distancing rules such as hands, face, and space. They must also adhere to the rule of 6. That's
hands, face, and space. I'm going to have to look this one up. This is new.
No touching, don't get too close to the face, and keep your distance.
This is for people that you're seeing. They're saying
dating,
boyfriends and girlfriends. Yeah. No touching.
Can't touch, no touch, no face.
Oh, you thought
kissing,
you could hold hands in the
kissing,
park? No.
Got to stay, 6 feet away from each other, whatever that is.
Wow.
The Prime Minister's official spokesman told a briefing of Westminster journalists, quote, "The rules on household mixing in Tier 2 set out that you should mix with your own household only unless you formed a support bubble, and that obviously does apply to some couples. A support bubble," you might be asking yourself, what is that? "Is a network between a single-person home and another household of any size, according to government rules." It comes as both London and Essex are set to be plunged into Tier 2 at midnight tonight. When was this published?
So this is like New York City, where they have the red zones now. They're calling it tiers or whatever. In New York City, there was recent news that in the Bronx and Queens, I think it was, there's certain zip codes that have now been labeled as so-called red zones, where the businesses that had been so-called non-essential are now no longer able to open. Businesses that are restaurants are no longer able to serve outdoors. They're only able to do takeout. So I'm guessing these are similar to what we're talking about here.
When asked why there was no exemption for people in established relationships in Tier 2, he replied, because the purpose of the measures that were put in place is to break the chain in transmission between households. Yeah. And the scientific advice there is greater transmission of the virus indoors. Asked if couples in Tier 2 can meet outside, he said yes, as it was set out in the guidance that was published this week. The ban on household mixing is in relation to indoors and outdoors. The rule of 6 applies.
6 feet.
Yeah. He also said people
indoors.
living indoors.
Yeah. In a country that uses the metric system.
Right. He also said people living in Tier 2 areas should not go to Tier 1 areas to socialize indoors. He added,
this is bizarre. I mean, it really is bizarre.
I feel like I'm reading fiction from Orwell.
Right. I can see somebody on a big stage with megaphone or massive speakers announcing Tier 2, you shall not be mixing together with Tier 1. Check in with your betters.
So if you live in Tier 2, you leave Tier 2, you should continue to behave under the rules for Tier 2. That's a quote from the article.
Don't leave your house without your hall pass.
We want them to remember why they need us.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. By the way, I did find the hand face. What was that? Hand face and
Rule of 6.
6 or whatever. Here,
space.
Tell you more, and space. That's right.
Yeah.
I'll tell you more about that coming up here. It's Free Talk Live.
There's nothing worse than thinking that your Medicare benefits are going to cover routine medical expenses like vision, dental, and prescription benefits, only to find that when an emergency arises, your Medicare plan is full of gaps that don't even begin to cover your medical emergency. How would it feel to have to go into debt because your Medicare program didn't cover everything 100%? Studies show that 95% of Medicare recipients pay more than $5,000 per year on out-of-pocket medical expenses. At snapmedicare.com, we understand how important it is for you to be prepared for any type of medical emergency. All it takes is a quick phone call to 800-286-5516 to find out exactly where you stand with your Medicare coverage and to save thousands on future costs. Call 800-286-5516 to make sure your Medicare plan includes provisions to cover any gap in coverage. Whether you have questions about Part A or Part B Medicare coverage, remember, call 800-286-5516. SnapMedicare.com. Call 800-286-5516.
Are you ready for what's next? It's likely coming. More food shortages, power outages, grocery stores closed, social unrest. Ask yourself, do you have enough food and supplies on hand to last at least 30 days? Most Americans do not, but you can. Avoid the panic of the last-minute rush. Order your 4-week supply of emergency food today from MyPatriotSupply.com. Starvation or dependency on the government are your only alternatives. Avoid those and the pain of being unprepared. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com right now. Build your emergency food supply with meals that last up to 25 years in storage, shipped discreetly to your door. Folks that know what's coming are using today to prepare. There's time for you to do the same. That's MyPatriotSupply.com, the original Patriot Preparedness Company. MyPatriotSupply.com.
Join liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians from June 28th through July 4th for ForkFest 2021 at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. ForkFest happens the week after the Porcupine Freedom Festival, and ForkFest is decentralized, which means no one is in charge. That also means there's no ticket cost. Just reserve your camping, RV site, or motel room with Rogers Campground for June 28th through July 4th. Where better to celebrate Independence Day than around other freedom-loving activists in the Shire? You can relax and enjoy the camaraderie of like-minded people, or you can create whatever experience or event you'd like others to have. If you're planning an event for ForkFest, be sure to let others know in advance. You can connect with fellow ForkFesters via the unofficial Telegram chat or the ForkFest forum. Links to those are on the unofficial website, forkfest.party. Mark your calendar for June 28th through July 4th, 2021. We'll see you at forkfest.party. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live. Moments remain here. Enough time, perhaps, if you get on the lines with us, you can take control of the airwaves. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Don't forget, you can help AMP, Free Talk Live. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. And what it means is it's a way for you to get behind what we do here and help us get on new radio stations. We've got over 190 great stations that air the show at various times throughout the week, and we can have more than that. We can do 250 or 300. It just takes time and effort and money, and that's what the AMP program helps us with. And so thank you to Gunneman 2002 for being a Free Talk Live Silver amplifier, and that means that Gunneman's contributing $5 a month to the AMP program, and we definitely appreciate it, and he gets some cool perks and some bennies from doing that. So once again, thanks Gunneman 2002. You can join him and the other amplifiers over at amp.freetalklive.com, ampamp.freetalklive.com. I said I found this hands, face, space thing that was referenced in this article about the UK, telling people who are boyfriend and girlfriend who are living in so-called Tier 2 zones that they are not allowed to, to
touch or have sex.
They're not allowed to have sex.
They're not allowed to touch.
Especially if they're from different tiers.
Oh, right. Yeah, you're not allowed to even go
from one tier. You got to have masks on. You got to stay 6 feet away from each other, and you got to no touching.
Including indoors,
and
right?
It occurs to me that what they're doing is they're creating class hierarchy here.
Yes.
Right? With these
different
caste
tiers. System.
Because what it says here, he says, as has been the case throughout the pandemic, whether in the following guidance or more recently when we placed it into law, you should behave at all times in the basis of the tier that you live in. So if you live in Tier 2, you leave Tier 2,
you must act like a Tier 2.
Continue to behave under the rules for Tier 2, quote unquote. This means someone from a Tier 2 could not leave the area to go socialize in a pub in the Tier 1 area.
Wow.
The Tier 1 will not socialize with the Tier 2s, and the Tier 2s shall not socialize with the Tier 1.
District 10 shall select 2, and Tier 2 shall select 2, Tier 1 shall select 2. That's a Hunger Games.
Only sneeches allowed are star-bellied sneeches.
I mean, you have to laugh at it because it will drive you insane. This stuff.
So the reason you've heard this before is because we covered this before when they did, I think, the equivalent of an executive order in the UK. It's just that now it's been put into law, apparently, in the UK, and so now they've resurrected it in ways.
Yep, so the hands, face, space thing is a UK government campaign. There's an advertisement from the NHS, the National Health Service, which shows people sort of in different situations in their life. Let's play the audio here from it. It's a quick 30-second ad.
Hope they don't cuss.
I wash my hands to protect my family.
I wear a face covering to protect my mates.
He's running to catch a bus in that particular scene there, throwing a face covering on after he says the line. And then this one's inside a home.
I'll make space to protect my nan.
I don't know what a nan is. Oh, I guess that's like a grandmother. Okay.
Moms.
So in this case, he's making space, playing video games with another friend. His grandmother isn't actually in the room. So the suggestion here is that when you're inside a home, you must also be 6 feet away from the other people in the home.
Hands.
Face.
Space.
I wash my hands to protect my colleagues.
I wear a face covering to protect strangers.
I make space to protect you.
Hands.
Face.
Space.
Yeah, so they're just pounding it in, that if you don't do this, then you're putting people at risk. You are a danger to society. You're a menace if you don't wear one of these masks and jump through all the arbitrary hoops that we put up for you. Anything else from that story, Captain Kickass, that we need to know about?
I'm just outraged that these people don't know how to speak American.
Let's go to David in New Mexico. David, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yeah, the Cord report, but what the indoctrination that they're feeding is far more dangerous than the virus that they're pretending they're protecting you from.
Absolutely,
the indoctrination propaganda. So, and the couple hundred years ago, these guys they fought a king against. They had to figure that they were going to lose. They were hoping that they were going to win. They did it anyway. And all we need to do in similar fashion is defeat this attempt to keep us under their thumb. But anyway, to the court. So I study all kinds of things about court behavior. One interesting thing. So in the state of New Mexico, in the Albuquerque market, but I mean the whole state is like this. So I look at all the Metro Court judges, for instance, which you can easily find on Ballotpedia under the Metro Court, Metropolitan Court, New Mexico, Albuquerque, Bernalillo County, however you want to search it. And there's 16 judges, 18 judges, whatever it is. And I have, out of those, I've gone one by one. I have succeeded in finding one that was not a University of New Mexico Law School graduate. And I have found one that is not a Democrat, that is instead a Republican. So being tried by 4 different judges in 4 different cases, and I'll have 4 different trials all running simultaneously as they are right now. I wonder what my odds in this charged political environment of the left wanting to slash the throats of the right and the right wanting to protect their throats from being slashed, is the way I see it. I wonder in this charged environment if I can get a fair trial. And having that thought occur to me, I'm also going to then put that in writing in a motion or a brief, and use it as
Well, I mean, you should know by now you're not going to get a fair trial, right?
Well, let's throw that aside. Let's throw that aside.
Yeah.
We have to attack. This is a war. This is a battle in the war. In fact, it's 4 different battles. I'm fighting 4 different battels in a war.
Well, I mean, maybe you're having a war, David, and you can have whatever kind of war that you want to. I don't believe in an attack. I'm not I don't think violence is going to solve the problem. I don't know if that's what you're suggesting. You're talking about maybe a legal war or something like that.
Sure.
But regardless, I would rather have liberty-minded folks retreat. Rather than attack the government or attack the system where you are. We know that doesn't work. We know trying to work within the system doesn't change the system, if particularly effectively. We know that working outside of the system doesn't make the system go away. So what you want to do, in my opinion, if you care about freedom, is retreat from where you are, move to New Hampshire, you migrate here as part of the New Hampshire Freedom Migration, and then we can regroup in New Hampshire, make our numbers larger, and be more effective at actually changing people's minds, at actually influencing the media, influencing the people who are around us, and possibly changing the system and or just ignoring it once we get enough people together. You do not have to attack these people. If you have enough people together in the same geographic area who are just willing to ignore this evil state, then there's nothing they can do about it. They cannot put everyone in jail.
Yeah, I was just talking to a friend who's over in the U.S. Marianas right now. I was talking to him yesterday, and as far as ignoring the state, in the Marianas, the state ignores the state. Like they don't even enforce their own laws. They're completely incompetent as far as this goes, and it's fascinating. And as far as a libertarian mecca, it seems like that, a place that doesn't have property tax, doesn't have income tax, doesn't have sales tax, that has legal gambling, that weed is legal, and that prostitution is just completely ignored. These things seem like places that libertarians would go, rather than, in my opinion, New Hampshire, where the property taxes, I know David pays very little in property taxes. He calls in regularly. He's going to pay, a monstrous sum if he moves to New Hampshire.
Well, right now there's not actually a libertarian migration to the Mariana Islands. There is a crypto migration that isn't, overtly libertarian necessarily. I'm sure there are some libertarians who are
as a
involved
libertarian who was on the U.S. Marianas for 2 months earlier this year before COVID, I can tell you it is freer than any other place in the United States.
Well, that's an interesting opinion, and
it's not just an opinion. I was there.
Yeah, but then you left, and the reason
COVID happened. I left because I wanted my mom to be taken care of.
Okay, but you left because you were saying at the time that you were shocked by how they cracked down. So
I was
there was
shocked by that.
A very big loss of freedom happened basically overnight, and now they're putting people in forced quarantine.
Freer than most places in the United States as far as this lockdown goes now.
Maybe so, but there's no forced quarantines here in New Hampshire.
There is no forced quarantine there either.
Oh, really?
No.
Because Vin Armani was forced into a quarantine.
Yep, people who went in at one point were forced into a quarantine.
That's not happening now? You can travel there
correct.
without a mandatory quarantine?
If you are sick, you will go into quarantine.
Oh, okay. So they're not forcing everyone who travels there into quarantine. That's good to know.
How do they determine if you're sick? Take a temperature? That's it?
Yep, same way as I did today going into a jiu-jitsu class.
Thank you, David, for your call tonight. Appreciate it. So in Massachusetts, maybe this is happening where you live as well. A lot of Massachusetts towns are putting restrictions on trick-or-treating. The governor said he's not issuing a state mandate banning or limiting trick-or-treating, but instead encouraging the cities and towns to lay out their own ground rules. So, of course, there's a whole range of various different crackdowns here in different towns. Some of them are putting restrictions. Some of them are allowing trick-or-treating. Is this happening near you? You're welcome to join us tomorrow night. You can talk about it online. You can join us in the meantime over at freetalklive.com.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had got involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be a part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream for people to use it for everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that is as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
The latest episode of Questioning Authority is next after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
supporting voters in the upper Midwest. I'm Joe Chiaro, Fox News. President Trump in Janesville, Wisconsin, hosting an event on supporting law enforcement. The president keeping up the pressure on opponent Joe Biden.
I am running against, perhaps in the history of presidential politics, the worst candidate. Obama wouldn't even endorse him. They ran together, they were together. And then even after he won, I didn't think Obama. It took so long, right?
The president spoke earlier in Muskegon, Michigan, another battleground state. He'll stay tonight in Las Vegas before campaigning tomorrow in Nevada. Joe Biden spending the day at home as he faces mounting pressure from Republicans to answer questions about unverified emails. They purport to show that his son Hunter used his father's influence to benefit financially from foreign companies in Ukraine and China. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy.
You were Vice President of the United States. Your son was making money off you. You even said when you were leader of Vice President, Ukraine, you got somebody fired going after the company that your son was on the board for. And now there are emails saying that you should be paid by this. You cannot avoid this question.
McCarthy on Fox and Friends. The former VP called it a smear campaign. AMC will rent out movie theaters for $99 to help recover from pandemic losses. But Cineworld Theater Group's CEO Mookie Greidinger believes theaters can eventually make a strong recovery.
We still have Wonder Woman in December, and we have a lot of movies on the first quarter. If you ask me, I see a very reasonable scenario that by Thanksgiving or maybe for Christmas, we will be back up and running. And the movies will come.
Multiple films have been pushed back to 2021, including The Batman, No Time to Die 007, the James Bond film, and Marvel's Black Widow. America is listening to Fox News.
2020 has been a gut punch to American business. And if you're going to succeed, you need every possible advantage. That's why